We did now. Hey.
Hello!
Hey, everybody. How's it
Oh,
going?
we forgot our usual. We did. We
Yeah,
forgot the swearing
we're
at the
all.
start there.
This is the first Friday that we have broadcast on the Infinite Monkey Tales. This is a first, ladies and gentlemen. There are many, many firsts still to come tonight. This is not the first of the firsts, nor the second of the firsts. There will be
Is it the
more.
first of the last?
This is the first. This is the last of the first of the firsts. I will not mention it until the next time. We are here tonight, and we are all assembled. We are playing Blades in the Dark,
Only we're not.
No,
and
we're not playing
we're not
Blades in the Dark.
See,
No.
we're playing. We're
I
playing
have no idea
Cthulhu
what that
Dark.
is.
We're playing Cthulhu in the Dark. We're playing Cthulhu Dark.
Yeah,
Ladies and
fun job.
gentlemen, let me start that one again. We're playing Cthulhu Dark, and I was looking for the name of the adventure that we're playing. It is called The Watchers in the Sky. Is that right?
It is by Graham Walmsley. It's actually a Trail of Cthulhu adventure, but we're going to try and play Cthulhu Dark with this instead.
Cthulhu Dark.
Yeah.
Now, on that note, it is fair to say that on this channel we are going to be doing lots of different things. We are going to be playing lots of different games, and we're going to be inviting you fine people to join us as well and play. If you've never played a game of this nature before, then watch, and you will see how people who also have not played a huge amount of them play it, and hopefully that will bring you to a level of thinking, you know what, that looks like fun, and I could have a shot with that. So let us know. Jump into our Discord. Jump into our Discord. And if you have played these kind of games before and you would like to find a crew to play with, to stream, thank you very much for the follow there, Dargoid. Cheers, cheers. I hope you're still flying in space and to get back into the Jesus very soon. So yeah, we're going to be playing a number of games. Last week was our very first stream on the channel, which was D&D, and we did a one shot, which was called The Candlestick, and it went pretty well. It was good fun. So that's on VOD if you want to watch that. How are everybody's today with Cthulhu Dark? We're going to be GM'd with some old pirates, capable and well experienced and calm hands.
Yeah, not one of those things is true.
I'd say you're quite experienced, right?
I've read
Sure.
the rules. I read the rules. Yeah. And the good thing about Cthulhu Dark is the rules come on one page, so I was able to read through them. And I imagine a couple of us could be reading through them right now, as we make this intro. You don't have to. I'm just kidding.
I don't
Oh,
Wait, there was
read
something to
rules.
read?
I mean, 2.5 years into D&D, and I've never looked at a rule in my life.
Are they the same as the last time?
There's
Yeah,
like,
the same
Yes.
as the last time. Yeah.
I've read them.
it's like,
Yeah.
there's like 3 rules and you make up the rest.
This is pretty much it. Yeah. You roll a 6-sided dice to do things. Sometimes you get to roll 2 6-sided dice if it's something that's within your occupational expertise. And you can also get to roll what's called an insight die if something particularly spoopy is going on.
Ooh.
And you can go slightly mad.
And we can also choose at the point at any time we feel like we need to make a roll as well. It's not one of these games where the DM prescribes everything.
That's
Is
right.
it?
That's right. You kind of direct most of that. I shouldn't really be calling for rolls, but I probably will because I forget.
And we forget.
And we forget. So we're getting there. This is the third game of Cthulhu Dark that we've played.
It is.
But yeah, we've also on the channel we're going to also be playing things like Blades in the Dark, like Cthulhu, Call of Cthulhu, Trail of Cthulhu, Mutants and Masterminds. Oh goodness, one shot.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Monkeys, D&D we've mentioned. So there's going to be a lot happening. Angie Pops, what's been happening? What's occurring? What have you been up to the past week? I know the answer to this question, but for these lovely fine people, What's the bit? What?
This week, what have we been doing? As a really close-knit group, we have been spending the week arguing about things back.
But it's been productive. It's been productive.
Yeah, yeah. So we've spent another week literally doing this and this, what you see and what you're hearing. And we have been so busy.
I said we with a capital W.
So
No,
we.
no, no. I'm going to take this moment. There's one guy here who has literally worked so hard.
Oh,
He has
thanks,
done.
Ash.
Shut up, Mark. He's done all the Discord, he's done this, all this that you see on the stream. He's done the sounds. He's done everything. And so I think everybody right now needs to go. Because he's just so
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you, Andy.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been very fun.
Well done, Kanati. It's been absolutely fantastic. You've done a brilliant
So
job.
yeah.
So tonight,
It's a good job you arrived.
tonight,
Honest, isn't it?
tonight is another one of the firsts. We have Infinity is producing. The production tonight is all his, and everything that you see tonight, well done, fantastic. Neil, to my whatever side I am on that screen, how have you been since we last met? Was it not just last Saturday? It was. You were in the game of.
Yeah, we were in the Candlestick adventure.
Yeah. What have you been up to since then? Anything exciting crossed your path?
Sadly, no, it's been a really busy week of work. Though I did get the good news. I don't know if I mentioned during the Candlestick or the last Cthulhu Dark adventure, but I was doing all like one shots, getting people into D&D. So I had some good news from that, where someone did another one shot, and now they're trying to teach their family how to play D&D. So
Nice.
spreading the
Yay!
word. Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's what we like.
Getting
That's what
started.
we like.
Yeah, we're doing an introductory kind of session with them, and a kind of cut down rule set if I remember. So
Yeah, and then they did, I think, probably like a more full-fledged one shot, and then now they're trying to run it. So that's cool.
Jessica, what have you been up to? What's been happening?
I have been taking full advantage of my child being back to school and playing games.
Hey, sounds good. Anything particular caught your eye, held your interest?
I'm not going to say it because everyone always teases me. I've been productive though. I've been doing art as well. But yeah, I've been busy.
What game are you playing? You have to share now.
League of Legends.
Ooh.
MOBA clone.
I don't know. Why should we be teasing you right
Yes,
now?
I mean-
Should we be teasing you
Everybody
right now?
teases me. I'm a dick.
Okay. Haha, you're playing League of
Yeah,
Legends.
get you.
Yeah, you played a popular game.
I
Yeah,
remember
get
when it
you.
first came
Ooh,
out
get
and I
you,
was
popular kid.
in the beta test, and
Ooh, la-di-da, hipster.
yeah, I definitely don't play it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's just old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't you be like one of the 12 people playing Dota 2?
So, before we get started, another one of the firsts that we have on this this stream tonight is a reveal. We have been busy arguing, but we arrived at a decision, and we are now delighted to reveal our new logo for Infinite Monkey Tales.
Are we ready?
That's the nod.
That's the nod.
I figured. Yeah, thank you.
Drum roll, please.
Woo!
Yay! That's it. That has took us a week. There's other bits to it as well, which I only found out today.
Yeah. So there you go.
Oh, there he's there! The guy he's there!
He-
Yay!
He's been banned by
He's
now,
been
look.
banned. He's been banned straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's our new addition, our identity that's going to take us forward into the coming years and however many decades it'll be, until
Yeah.
we've finally beat our record.
Yep.
And we'll keep this as a fantastic piece of work that's been done for us and taken into account. Somehow managed to work with all comments that we tried to sort of filter through. But this, anyway, we're so happy with it. You're going to be seeing it appearing on Twitch. You're going to be seeing it on Twitter, or Discord, banners, the usual, all that kind of stuff, and everywhere. So, with that all out of the way, and having bought some old pirate at least 10 minutes to read the.
Oh, I should have been reading the adventure while we were doing this, shouldn't
I think it's time to
God
get
damn it.
started.
Okay. So it's kind of late autumn in the year of 1931, and we're at Mercy Hill, London, and we're in the house of Professor Lucas Wright, as he sits having breakfast with his wife this morning, just before he goes to work at the London College of Science, Royal College of Science, even. And so they're kind of sitting there. I mean, how does Lucas get on with his wife? Are they close? I'm assuming they're fairly close. Yeah.
Somewhat. I mean, they're married, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's that kind of thing where it's kind of sort of been like, kind of get into that sort of groove, I guess, the rut. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Sort of all
Yeah.
kind of
I
blends
think.
into one. So.
And so you're sitting there eating your toast. You're trying to complete the Times crossword this morning, and it's particularly fiendish this day. So you're sitting there staring at this newspaper, and you're aware of your wife kind of nattering to you in the background, and she's saying things like, "What would you like for dinner this evening?" I have to visit the hairdressers. I can call at the butcher while I'm out. I think I'd like to visit the jewelers too. What would you like? Sorry, what would you like for dinner? Putting you on the spot.
maybe maybe we should have the pie. The steak and ale.
Yes. I'm going to have to visit the jewelers later, she says. And you can see that she's been kind of fiddling with her wedding ring.
Is there a problem with your ring?
Well, it's feeling a bit tight, to be quite honest, she says. Yes, look, it's rubbed. And she holds her wedding ring finger out to you, and you kind of see that the base of the wedding ring finger is it's all swollen and red. Yeah, it's probably because just the ring's got a bit tight, I guess, and she's been struggling with that a little bit. And you I guess you're kind of half taking interest in this as she's kind of saying this to you. And we kind of fade a little bit on that scene. And then we're gonna move now to Dr. Baker's house. Dr. Stephen Baker. You also live you live in Brychester.
Yep.
And you're sitting there in the nursery for your daughter. Your daughter means everything to you. She's like the best thing that's ever happened to you, right?
Yeah. She's my whole world.
Yes, and she sits there in the nursery with you, and she's kind of playing a little game. And this is before you go to work yourself. And she's kind of just doing the usual. She's playing up a little bit, like she does every morning. And she's saying, "Must you go to work, Daddy?"
I really didn't wish I have to. I really must go.
I want you to stay and play with me, she says.
I know, and I really would love to stay with you, my dear. I really do, but work calls, and you know how it is. We have to pay those bills.
And she listens to you intently. You know, she's an intelligent kid. She's quite precocious. And she goes to a toy box and she retrieves a toy stethoscope that you'd bought her. And she kind of sticks the ends in her ears and then walks over to you. And she puts the stethoscope up to your chest and she says, um, "You're very sick, Daddy. You must stay at home today."
Let me see. I'll be the doctor here, and I kind of take it. I've got a minute or two, so I'll play
Yeah.
with her for a minute, and then it's like, nope, everything checks out. I'm afraid I am well.
And she kind of looks at you and pouts a little bit and reaches up and takes a stethoscope, just grabs it from out of your ears. And you kind of notice, as you have done many times in the past, her little finger, which is slightly bent and crooked, has been since she was born. You know, other than that, she's absolutely perfect, and you wouldn't change her at all, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to fade out from that little scene, and we're at a hospital, and St. Thomas Hospital in Brychester. And Miss Howell, Helen Howell, is visiting her fiance. He's cracked a rib. He'd been playing polo the day before, and he's had a bit of a fall. He's been complaining about it all night. He's had no sleep, and so you've gone down to the hospital, and at the moment you're kind of you're waiting as the nurses are kind of fussing around him. His name's Roger Talbot. He's your fiance. And there's one particular nurse that seems to be fussing around him, maybe a little. She's perhaps being a little too attentive for your liking.
Mm.
And you're kind of sitting in one of those kind of hospital bays. There's kind of the curtains around on this ward, and she keeps periodically sticking her head through the curtain. She's how are you feeling, Mr. Talbot?
He's fine. He's fine. He's okay.
I, and she looks at him, and he nods. He's just being polite, you know, ever the gentleman, of course. He's trying not to encourage this nurse. How does this make Helen feel?
She's very possessive.
Oh, okay,
She's
right.
very possessive.
Hmm.
So she's going to put her hand on his shoulder delicately, and she's
Yeah.
going to kiss him on the cheek. Mwah. You're
Yeah.
right, aren't you, darling? My darling Roger. You'll be fine. I can look after you.
Would you like another cup of tea? The nurse says. And then the doctor, he kind of arrives, and he shows you. He takes you over to one of those kind of light boards, and he throws up the X-rays, and he's saying, you know, you've got a cracked rib there, my boy. We'll keep you in for a few days, but you'll need to rest for a few weeks. There's no more polo for you for a while, eh? Roger looks a little sheepish and says nothing.
It's okay, Roger. I'll look after you.
Right. So, we are now at St. Mary Bethlehem Hospital. And this is as Arthur Knott has arrived to see his friend, Abraham Cale. Abraham's been a good friend to Arthur for a few years now. And Arthur, you approach the hospital. The grounds are immaculate. It's big. It's quite a new building. It's not been built too long. You probably know it better as Bedlam. It's a hospital for the mentally ill. And Abraham Cale has been here for some time now, and you've been visiting him regularly. You approach this grand-looking building, and this is what you see. Hope. Yes. Um, but it's all mod cons, this place. And you enter from the front door, and somebody directs you over to the east wing, where you've been many times before, and you make your way through the building. And it's a very pleasant building, but as you're making your way through it, you see all these doors either side of the hallway, and from out beyond these doors, you can hear these moans and occasional screams of the mentally ill. Um, till you arrive at like a nurse's station, and it's Nurse Rogers, who you've spoken to several times before. She's very efficient. Um, she's a very experienced nurse, very capable, and she says, Mr. Knott," she says.
Hello, my dear.
"Hmm. You're here to see Mr. Cale again?
Yes.
He'll be very glad to see you. You'll be pleased to hear that he's doing very well. He's eating fine. He's out in the garden at the moment.
Ah, I will go and see him very soon.
Yes. You know where the gardens are. You kind of go through down the end of the corridor, through these large, ornate-looking glass doors, out into the grounds, and you see Abraham. He's sitting out on some garden furniture, some wrought iron garden furniture. It's a very pleasant day for this time of year. There's kind of a weak sunshine that's kind of shining down through the clouds that are littering the sky. And you can see there's somebody sat with him. And that would be Angie's character, whose name escapes me.
Sally.
Sally Williams, who you've probably met before at some point. You know that she visits Abraham on occasion. And as you approach, Abraham, he kind of squints in the sunlight, and he's Arthur,
Well done, son.
how are
Well
you,
done.
boy? This is a routine that plays out pretty much every time you come to visit Abraham.
I'm doing quite well, thank you.
Have you heard from your father? He says.
Yes, he's doing very well. I still think he wishes I was in his business, but nevertheless, he's supportive. So he always wishes me well.
Well, that is good. That is good. This is
Sally.
Sally. This is Sally. Yes, you've met before. Yes.
Hello, Sally.
Oh, good to see you again.
Yes. I was just saying that how pleasant the weather was.
Yes.
You noticed the thing you notice about Cale. He's looking well groomed. He's obviously being well looked after. He's doing the Times crossword, and he's writing with his left hand. His right hand has some kind of deformity due to a bullet that he took during the service in South Africa. And he seems quite lucid today. You've seen him. You've seen him worse.
I appear over.
Yeah.
And I say, I think you'll find that 9 down is Michaelmas.
And he kind of looks down, and he smiles broadly, and he looks up at you. I thank you, Arthur. And he writes that down, and then he stands there. It's kind of like an awkward silence as he just sits there doing his crossword, and you're not saying very much to each other.
Let me get another cup. And I go off and quickly get another cup and a fresh pot of tea for the guest.
Yeah. And he's carrying on doing the crossword, and you can hear him mumbling to himself, extremely merry fruit. He's contemplating this for a moment. I've been feeding the birds, he says to you.
Well, this is very pleasant to see you in such a jovial mood today, Abraham.
Yes. Well, it's so good. It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Oh, not as long as you think. You are a good teacher. I thank you for that. You look
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure, old boy.
you looked after me well.
Good. Yes.
Come back and bustle round, pouring drinks. He's having an exceptionally good day today.
I've been feeding the birds, he says.
Well, yes, we've been feeding the birds and we've been chatting and doing the crossword. It's been, pleasant afternoon.
It's like they understand me, you know. No way, Ollie.
Well, the birds understand you.
I think some of the students understood you too. I like to think we did anyway. So.
Yes, I think you learned a lot.
I'm in my final year now.
Oh, that is good news. That is good news. You see his hands getting slightly more frenetic on this paper as he's writing. He's looking straight at you as he's talking, but his hand is still moving.
I gently reach over and have a quick look what
and
he's
he
doing.
leans forward as you do that, and he says, "Read my thoughts."
Yes, we know. And I just put my hand on his just to slow it down.
Okay. It doesn't seem to stop. He scribbles more and more and more.
Can I see what he's writing?
You look down at the paper, and you can see that he's started filling in the crossword, and you can make out these words that are obviously English words to the crossword. But then it's like suddenly he started writing in another language almost, and you can't quite tell what the language is. And it seems to be spilling off of the crossword onto the paper, and he's starting to write harder and harder into paper. It's gouging into the paper. But he's looking straight at you, almost completely impassively, as he's doing this.
And then, Abraham, just be careful there. You're going to hurt yourself.
Whatever do you mean, boy? Whatever do you mean? And his hand is basically going crazy all over this paper now.
I reach forward and try to stop him, and I kneel down next to him.
They read my thoughts, he says. They read my thoughts, boy. And his hand is frantic. And he starts to get a little bit agitated now.
Abraham, look at me. We need to calm down. We don't want them taking you inside and giving you the drugs that you don't like.
But you don't see, they read my thoughts, he says. They know what I'm thinking. They expect me to be here. They are always here when I come out.
Abraham, remember the Lord. He's with you always. His peace and love. He will see you through this period of darkness. Remember, the Lord is with you.
As you're speaking to him, his hand is frantically just drawing like crazy all over this paper until eventually he tears through the page. And at that point, that's when Nurse Rogers kind of notices, and she rushes over. And there's another younger nurse with her who seems a little bit inexperienced and is kind of flustered. She sees all this going on. And they rush over to him. And you can see that Nurse Rogers is carrying a syringe. And she sticks this into his arm.
What are you doing? He doesn't need that.
He needs sedating.
I know what he needs. I'm a nurse of 10 years. And he doesn't need that. Remove the syringe now. I will calm him down.
And the nurse Rogers, she looks at you straight in the eye and she says, I have been the nurse for 20 years.
Yes.
I know what he
Does
needs.
not need that.
Excuse
Remove
me,
it now.
madam. Excuse me. And she sticks the needle in his arm. And he calms down very quickly. And then she said, Nurse Rogers says, Nurse Wilkie, we must get him to his room now. And she looks at you both and says, you may come. And she kind of scowls a little bit at Sally.
Look at her, and I pick up I pick up the drawings and pop them into a pocket.
Okay, and you can see that this drawing that is on this paper, it appears to be, like I say, it's like words but it's not in a language that you can recognize. And it seems to form like a spiraling star shape on the paper as it kind of comes off of this crossword. And you can see Nurse Rogers and Nurse Wilkie kind of pushing Abraham in his wheelchair up towards the main building.
What was it like? A star shape?
Spiraling star shape, kind of like a star that's kind of twisted slightly.
Is this something I've seen him draw before?
No.
Well,
In fact, you've never really seen him act like that before, either.
that was very strange. Sally, this turn was unusual. Is this related to his condition?
I don't think he has a condition. I genuinely think that he's had some experiences that he is trying to comprehend. He's trying to get his own mind round it.
Well,
I come regularly to visit him now, and I'm keeping a watch on him. But some of the things he says, they're not madness.
he's had experiences with the Lord. Our Father. He looks after us. He watches over us. I'm sure
He's told you that.
His will.
So you follow them up to the hospital?
Yep.
Okay, and so we'll cut then across to Professor Wright, Professor Lucas Wright, who is in Edward's laboratory at the Royal College of Science. You're a physicist, right?
Well, yeah, I dabble, I would say.
Yeah.
I found it kind of a bit blasé, so I kind of diversified myself.
Oh, okay. So, would it be a physics or geology experiment that you're looking at here then?
Maybe both.
Oh, okay. Well, let's say we're looking at a physics experiment, if that's the case. So you've been experimenting with a cloud chamber and a radioactive material, and you're kind of watching these particles move across this cloud chamber. And that's what you're expecting certain results from this thing, obviously. You know the theory. You're expecting these the radioactive particles to move through a cloud. You'll be able to see them. But you've been having a bit of a devil this morning. You have been conducting this cloud chamber experiment, but even before you've got the radioactive material into the cloud chamber, you've noticed you've been getting these strange pulses through, as if you'd almost introduced this radioactive decay, but they're persistent and they're unusual in length, and they're appearing at regular intervals in pulses, just over a second apart, which is not what you would expect from radioactive decay anyway. The first thing you think of is perhaps background radiation, but this doesn't seem right. And this lasts for about 2 minutes, and then it stops, and then the experiment carries on as normal. And then about an hour later, the exact same thing happens again.
what the devil is going on?
Hmm.
Let's scribble some stuff in my notebook.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I guess you move things around
So,
to make
yeah,
sure
does
there's no
anyone-
materials in the lab that are causing this thing, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
We need to isolate the gas. Make sure there's no rogue sources. Ionizing the gas.
Yeah.
It's peculiar. Maybe if we move the chamber itself a little bit.
Yeah.
See if there's more or less
And
these pulses based on
and
where
you
it's in the room.
you do that. You move this chamber, and yeah, it works. The thing stops again. But then an hour later, you repeat the experiment, and same thing happens. And this is really confusing to you. And oddly enough, at around this time, you get a phone call from a friend of yours who also works in the in this department. And he's just wanting to arrange perhaps a lunch meeting or something. You haven't spoken for a couple of weeks, and he's wanting to speak to you. And you think maybe this is a good opportunity to maybe consult with a colleague.
Yes, I've been having a most perplexing day.
Hmm.
Maybe you might have some thoughts about what is going on.
Oh, well, I'm sure I can help you, old chap. Why don't we meet at the garden above Derry and Tom's, eh? And we can thrash it out over a gin and tonic. What do you think?
Sounds perfect. I think some fresh air and some time away from the lab may maybe knock off some dust and some cobwebs.
Yeah. So you find yourself atop Derry and Tom's about an hour later, and Bartholomew Thompson is this fella's name, and he's rich. I mean, he's noble, noble blood, or at least he thinks so, and at least acts that way. But he's a terrible dresser. His affectation today is this purple cravat. And he's smoking a pipe when you arrive. And he kind of gets up to kind of greet you, and you shake hands. So, how's it been, old boy?
Oh, you know how it is. Trying to find something new and exciting, and just takes, just sort of like you're poking around in a dark room, hoping to find some kind of like you're lost key to your house or something. You know how it is.
Just take the bloody money and run. That's what I say. So, you got a bit of a problem, you say?
Yes, well, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to chart some radioactive decay and its effects on ionizing a gas I have in the lab. Now, the most peculiar thing is happening that, I don't know, it seems to happen every hour. I can't really tell when exactly or where it's coming from, but I get like pulses in the gas, like there's something there that's decaying it, but I can't quite figure out the source.
Oh. Every few
Driving
seconds,
me mad
you
all
say?
day. Yes. What?
Yeah. That's interesting. A chum of mine in astronomy has been experiencing a similar thing at night. Says his telescope blares every second or so. Very odd.
Perhaps maybe someone else is doing some experiment that's, I don't know, sending out a signal of some sort, or some kind of electrical transmission. Who knows?
Yeah, something very odd going on there at the moment. You remember old Nobby Smythe, yes? The nervous fellow in geology. Invited us to his wedding a few years back.
Yes.
Apparently he's had to take a leave of absence. Mental exhaustion, or so they say. He was having trouble with one of his experiments too. Perhaps he'll go the same way.
Well, that gives me something pleasant to look forward to.
Well, maybe.
Maybe a nice bed to lie down in, someone to look after, like, serve me my meals.
Yeah. Well, it depends. He claimed it kept happening whenever some large bloody black bird appeared on the window ledge. Got quite
It
upset
does.
about it. Yeah. No, I'm serious. He got quite upset, the poor fellow.
I mean, if I was getting pestered by a large black bird, I'd probably be a bit vexed.
Well, this is
I
it.
don't, I don't think I would lose it quite so severely.
Well, maybe you should keep an eye out for black birds during your experiment, old boy.
That's something I had not thought to track in my research notes. I will keep an eye, just in case. Maybe I'll find a black hound as well. Who knows?
Poor old Nobby. Okay, so we're gonna switch across then to we're going to the University of Bridechester. This is where Helen Howell and Dr. Baker work, and we're going to start with them in the basement of of one of the buildings here in the university. In the dissection theatre. It's a pentagonal building or room. It's made up of these 5 tiers of this narrow wooden seating around this central dissection table. It's dimly lit down here, always dimly lit. There's just a little bit of light that's kind of streaming in through these filthy stained glass windows on the top level there. And in the middle of it, you've got this dissection table. And on that dissection table right now is this strangely misshapen bird that's been found by one of the university students in one of the quads there. And we have Dr. Baker and Miss Howell standing here in the dissection room about to conduct a half-assed autopsy, thanks George, on this bird.
Oh. Carry on.
Right. So this bird is it's quite large, but there's something that doesn't look right about it. It looks kind of slightly deformed, perhaps.
Is it black by any chance?
It is. It is black.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, it's a very big black bird. So what do you want to do with this thing?
Shall
Do we
shall
know
we
what
prod it?
type of bird it is?
Well, this is the strange thing. I mean, you could make a roll here if you so desired.
I'll let you do
Let's
that,
have a first roll.
Doctor.
Damn it! Oh,
It's very unusual, isn't it?
yeah. I need to open my character. Do I have a character sheet?
You should have. You remember where to find it?
Nope. Nope.
I'm going to poke it with the back of my pen.
Characters. There we go.
Uh,
There we go. There you go. Street gets to see the amazing hair of my character there.
Oh yeah, there he is.
That's not the character sheet, I take it.
No, that's not.
Ah, there we go.
I
There
don't.
we go.
You got it. We're there.
Yeah,
We're there.
we got it. Insight, yeah. Is it with expertise?
No, you can make a. I mean, technically, you can make a roll up with occupational expertise here, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
it's because you're very clever, Doctor.
Okay. This bird doesn't belong to any known species that you know of. You've never seen anything quite like it before. In fact, as you're kind of examining it, before you even take a scalpel to it, it appears to be almost like an amalgam of different creatures. I mean, when you look at the eye, for example, it doesn't look like a bird's eye. It looks more like perhaps the eye that would belong to that of a dog.
Fascinating.
It does.
What's
This is the weird thing.
fascinating?
The eye, the eye on this bird. I'm sure that's the eye of a dog.
Oh, that's disgusting.
And the whole thing seems to be kind of constructed as you kind of examine it, of maybe like ill-fitting parts, like somebody's kind of thrown it together from some kind of kit that was made up of lots of different parts of some random.
When you say it looks
Collection.
like somebody has thrown it together, do you mean like it's a jumble of different creatures together, or do you mean like physically stitched together?
No. I mean, if you're going to cut into it, you may find out a little bit more. But from as you're kind of looking at it, this bird, it seems to be. It's almost like it's some. If you could imagine, somebody would have used different bits from different animals to kind of put this thing together in roughly the shape of a bird.
So
The
Dr.
skull is
Vapor,
quite swollen.
What do we do here? I'm gonna pass the scalpel to you.
Well,
I shall watch and take notes because I am
maybe we
studying.
should start by separating out the parts into maybe animal categories. Well, we could put a pile of the
I shall
dog
make
parts
notes.
here. Yes.
So eyes are dogs.
The eyes are definite. I could have sworn blind. That's a dog's eye.
What, like a little eye, like a little chihuahua?
Well, here,
Chihuahua.
have a look for yourself.
Oh gosh, okay. Let's put that in the tray, shall we?
So you're taking this thing, you're cutting this thing
Oh.
open, yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we can cut in this open.
We're sorting it out into pieces. And I'm
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. As you kind of cut into this thing, where do you start? You're going to start on the body, yeah?
Well,
Or
he's
the
starting
head?
to
Yeah,
die,
yeah.
obviously.
So you cut into the head.
Pick the eye out.
You push the scalpel into the head of this thing, and it's kind of like a slightly swollen. It doesn't look right, the head. And as you kind of push the scalpel into the brain, there's like this kind of black, viscous liquid kind of oozes out, and it kind of rolls slowly down the side of this thing's head to pool onto the dissection table. And there's this smell, like a smell of mold, but there's like this strange sweet scent behind it as well.
Right.
And it's kind of got the consistency of caviar. It's kind of partly solid, partly liquid. But you've never seen anything like this before at all.
Curiouser and curiouser.
That can't
Yeah.
be blood, can it?
Did
It
we?
certainly
did
doesn't
we,
look like blood.
Do we know anything before about the bird before? Like, did we know that this was like a bird found in an area nearby? Or...
Yeah, it was found on the university grounds by one of the students.
I thought I found it.
And you know, they kind of figured it was strange enough to bring to somebody's attention.
I wonder if this is maybe some elaborate prank here. This is very strange. I've never come across a bird like this. Surely this can't be.
What do you mean, like a prank? Like somebody's actually put it together? I'm gonna like lean in closer and see if I can see stitch marks.
Okay. There's like some strange interconnecting tissue that
Ugh.
seems to connect the skull to the spine. And the spine itself, it doesn't appear to be that of a bird either. It appears to belong to another mammal, maybe? Not a dog.
Can I figure it out?
You can, yeah, why don't you have a roll if you
Yeah,
want to try.
roll.
But then,
Where am I expertise being a student, or am I not?
you can roll with expertise if you like. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You've probably seen, you've probably experimented on other animals before, perhaps while you've been conducting your research and your studies.
Lots of frogs.
It appears to be perhaps a monkey, a small monkey, at the spine of this thing. And as you kind of cut down and through it, you can see that it's connected, this connective tissue which seems to be holding everything together. And it's like this black substance. It's not like the stuff that's come out of the brain, but when you kind of examine it closely, it kind of has some properties of maybe some kind of fungus,
Okay.
but also maybe cancerous cells as well.
Hey, doctor, take a look at this. It's definitely
What have you
unusual.
got?
Well, you know the black stuff that came out of the brain. It's kind of, in the sections where it's joined together. I can't think of the words, doctor, because I am only a student. But it's kind of
Don't worry,
lashed
don't worry,
together.
dear. I don't need to say the word. I know exactly what you're talking about.
But it looks all black and cancerous and
Yes,
gross.
brain juice. Yes.
Yes, the
Brain
brain
juice.
juice. But it's also ligament juice now. And it looks like a monkey back. I
But
mean, can you have a
can-
look at this? Don't touch it, though. Don't touch it. Make sure
I'll
your
ha-
gloves are
Yes, but
on.
question: what colour should it normally be?
Probably red, obviously.
Is that what you think? Oh, I see.
You carry
Okay.
on dissecting this thing, and when you get to the rib cage, the
Blood
rib cage is
red.
perhaps the thing that freaks you out the most. The rib cage seems to be made up of human fingers, human finger bones, all curved around. And inside, there are numerous organs within inside this rib cage, and you can make out what appear to be the lungs of a dog, small dog. And there are also a lot of organs that are missing, and then there are some which you cannot identify at all.
How many people are actually in this room with us?
It's just
You're
you
a
and
student.
just you and the student. Yeah.
This is not right now. This is silly. Someone is playing a game here. This is not. No. Somebody has butchered this poor creature, and this can't be. No. Right.
Well, however disgusting it is, we still need to take it all apart, and I think we need to lay it on the table, label everything, make all the notes, and this is weird, isn't it?
Yeah. And you're pretty sure at this point as well that this doesn't appear to have been constructed.
This couldn't have grown, could it? How could this have happened?
I have no idea.
You're not supposed to say that, teacher. Come on, you're a
I mean,
doctor.
would that freak somebody out enough for maybe for an insight roll?
It wouldn't freak me out, but it would definitely freak out the student.
Oh, would it now? You know
Insight
nothing
roll.
about me.
Definitely do an insight roll there.
Shall we both do one?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's me going up.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, you both go up one then.
Oh.
we're on the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so fingers, human fingers. There are indeed human fingers. 1, 2, 3, more than 5 human fingers. What do we do?
Yeah. We'll cut back to Arthur and Sally at the hospital with Abraham Cale in his room. The nurses have placed him on his bed. It's a very bare, kind of Spartan room. Just kind of the bed and a few bits of furniture, like a cabinet and a wardrobe. He's been out for a few minutes now, and the nurses are quite happy that he's kind of calmed down. And he's starting to come round, and he's quite sleepy, but he's waking up. He seems quite pleased when he sees you both sat there.
Well, Abraham, it's not quite the same as the seminary, is it?
Where am I, old boy?
There's Sally.
You're back in your room. Now I need to just calm down a moment and just relax for a minute. And I sort of lie him down just for a few minutes, and I sort of turn and say to Arthur, episodes do occur quite frequently, and I was here for nursing him. That's how I got to know him. But I do believe it's not madness. I do believe this.
He says, as he's in his bed.
The
I
steps
turn
of a
around and look
man.
at him.
The steps of a man are ordered by the Lord. He will be fine. You step in the light. Now, Abraham, yes?
Look down at him.
Yeah.
You okay, Abraham?
And he rubs his temple with his finger like this.
Did you just say something?
Oh dear.
Abraham, you used to keep notes. Have you got any notes in? Has he got any notes in the room? That have you?
The room's quite bare. I mean, there is like a chest of drawers, and the wardrobe.
Abraham, do you mind if I just have a quick look in your wardrobe and chest of drawers for your ledger? Notebook.
I think I've written a journal in a while. Remember?
I wander across and just have a quick peruse the of his wardrobe and drawers.
Yeah. So you open the drawers, and you can see inside there. There's a few. There's kind of like his case for his glasses. Perhaps a wallet. There's a lot of paper in there, and some pens. The paper seems to have some kind of drawings or doodlings on that he's been doing. There's quite a lot of them as well.
I get them out and have a look at them.
Okay.
I sit down on his the end of his bed.
And he kind of looks at you, Arthur, and he says, as he's rubbing his temple again, the oddest thing, but I can feel it in here. Rubbing his temple. Nurses can't find it, but I know it's there.
Feel what, Arthur?
I don't know what it is, but it's there. Once I tried to get it out with a knife, but they stopped me.
Arthur, have you been experiencing dark thoughts?
I think so.
What?
Like some kind of tick.
Do you need a handkerchief? And I go into my cassock and look for a hanky and handkerchief and hand it over to him.
Mm.
You don't seem to be yourself.
Oh,
Yeah. What's happened?
Feel
Have you been
all right? A bit
have you
tired.
been taking the medication the nurses have been giving you?
Of course I have.
Yeah. And you're comfortable.
Yes.
Has anyone else visited you recently?
I don't think so. Sally's visited.
I do. And I bring over the papers and sit on the chair next to the bed.
Okay, and on these papers, there seem to be hundreds of drawings of birds.
Right?
Kind of, they're all similar, these birds, a bit misshapen and black. And he's
Okay.
not a bad artist, is Abraham, isn't it? I mean, it's quite obvious what it is. And you can make out he's drawn himself in some of these pictures too. And he's kind of sat there in a chair, and you see he's drawn these birds kind of surrounding him. You kind of get the impression that they're watching him.
Arthur, why have you drawn these dark pictures? These aren't.
I told you, he said. That's all watching.
Oh,
Are these
Arthur.
the birds that you say was watching you outside?
Abraham.
Yes. They know when I go outside.
There's always birds outside. Always, Abraham. They bring up the morning. They sleep at night in the trees.
Not these ones. They're awake at night too.
Okay, Abraham. What do they want?
Don't think they're from this planet.
Right. Okay. And I look round to Arthur and go, let him play this out.
You see, I'm looking quite distressed at this point when you say that to him.
Hmm.
Arthur looks at you, and he sort of does that thing. I, yeah, I do that sort of thing where you kind of go like that, and he sort of squints at you as if I'm trying to size you up. Just
I just pat him on the arm and go, I know best. Sometimes it's best for them to talk through these things. And if it was from an experience that happened, we might be able to get to the bottom of it and then deal with it. I know
I,
best.
I look like I'm looking at you. I kind of turn towards Abraham, but I keep my eyes looking at you, and then I just slowly bring my head back round to look at him, to look at Abraham, and I try and size him up. Does he look different from what I remember him being?
Um, Not
Apart from
really. I
his
mean,
hands,
I
but
mean, yeah, he kind of looks. He looks tired.
mm,
He kind of looks like the same old Abraham. The tick is new. You've not seen that before. Um, and he seems kind of fairly earnest when he says this to you as well. It's not like he's, he clearly believes it. And he's looking at you two as you're having this discussion, and he's like, um, you're like, you, you don't you don't believe me, do you?
I turn round to him and say, when did they start talking to you?
Can't really remember. I think it was a few months ago.
Abraham, you must be strong. You you must remember. You, you've you serve you serve God, our Lord. These things have been that you're talking about. They sound like death. Uh,
He kind of reaches forward. He kind of touches your hand, and he's kind of looking you in the eyes, and he's saying, "What if I was wrong, Arthur? What if I was wrong?"
you can't be wrong. Our faith is everything. It defines who we are. Our world, everything. It's all there. No, Sally, and he turns
Yeah.
to Sally, I kind of just walk away from him and I say to, is she dying?
I think he's asking you a question, Sally.
Yeah, ask Sally. Is she dying? Is she dying?
Oh, is he? I thought he said
Hmm.
she. I was thinking, I was about to open my notes and think,
Who's she?
yeah, I was like, no, no, no. No, he's just, there's something that happened a few months ago and it's affected him. He's not mad. I truly believe he's not mad. But something has affected him, and he thinks it's affecting him, or maybe something not right.
He was on a
Not sure
path of
about the birds.
righteousness. Can't say I'm happy about this at all. I need to consider maybe if we talk to the doctors, we could find out what. Uh, so, Sally, have you I misremembering. Is Sally Abraham's nurse,
No,
or is just visiting?
no. Sally is somebody that has just started visiting him, and perhaps you don't really know why that would be. Um,
Yeah, yeah. So I
I
ask
don't know
her.
if perhaps you've had any kind of
I'll say,
conversation with her
yeah. I'll
regarding
say,
it. But
Sally. It started 2 months ago. When did you start visiting him?
Didn't see him. I don't know.
just make it up.
Um, well, I first met him when I was nursing here, so just under 2 months. So when he was admitted to here, and I nursed him, and I'm not nursing him now. I work at the other hospital, but I visit quite often because there's something troubles me with him. I just don't think he's mad. I don't think he should be here. He's not trying to harm himself. He's not trying to harm anybody else. He just says these things. So when you said he was on a path to righteousness, where was he and what was he doing? Because something has made this happen. Was he going somewhere?
He was walking into our Lord's embrace, of course, as we all are. But no, he was a good man. His heart was true. He looked after us.
But do
I
you
hate to
know?
see him like this.
But do you know? Maybe we would she know? Because if she nursed him, would she know any of his medical history? Like
But,
how he got here?
uh, uh, potentially, yeah, yeah. Do you think she does?
Well, if she was nursing him, there might be something like, you know, um, it's like, when you have daily rounds, it would be, oh, Arthur was admitted on such and such a date because of this.
Yeah,
So there might be a brief of what he might have been, or on how he got to this situation.
yeah. Um, I suppose he was probably admitted originally um, with what would now be considered dementia or something like that.
Okay.
I mean, he's getting on a bit, he's
Yeah.
advancing in age, and so this is kind of where he's ended up
So he
because of
wasn't
that.
on like any kind of like trip somewhere or.
No, no. I mean, he, as Arthur would know, he's basically he was tutoring. He was, you know, for, Arthur is a seminary student, and this guy was his tutor at one point, until he retired, and then as his mental capacities have deteriorated, and he's now found himself here in
Okay.
the hospital.
I turn to Arthur and say, I think something happened. Maybe we should visit his premises because I truly believe he isn't mad, and I truly believe he's either seen or done something. So maybe we should check out his lodgings.
I mean, he's kind of listening to you as you're kind of going through these things. Um, he's saying he says, you're right. I'm not mad.
Oh,
I've been doing the research. Not I'm not mad.
research? What were you researching?
Where is your researcher?
It's there among those papers, he says.
These papers that I'm holding?
Yeah, you got there's like a sheaf of these papers, and the ones you kind of flick through, they've got these drawings on. And as you kind of flick through them more, there are some more letters, more papers underneath, which are kind of letters. It seems to be correspondence that he's been having with a librarian of the old library in Britechester University. Britechester is a town in the Severn Valley. It's kind of between Bristol and Birmingham.
Arthur, No, wrong one.
Abraham.
Abraham. Would you mind awfully if I took these letters away and did a bit of research, and while you're feeling a little off colour, I took these letters with me and
But I need them.
I will bring them back, but maybe while you're here, I could continue your research for you, and then I can report back to you with the findings.
Yes, yes. You need to speak to the librarian.
Librarian.
At Bridechester University. If you could do that for me, that would be. I can't get there myself,
No,
obviously.
no. What's her name?
Pritam Singh.
Okay.
That's the name that seems to be on some of these letters. This guy is replying to him on these letters.
Okay.
There seems to be a correspondence going backwards and forwards.
Okay. Abraham, you take some time. Me and Arthur will read it. We were going to go and read these letters. Would it be possible to go to your lodgings should we need to?
He will agree to that, I would have thought, yeah.
Arthur, is there any more of your research in the lodgings? Is this all of it?
No, I've been doing it while I've been here.
Okay, that's fine then.
Shall we cut over to Lucas Wright, who has discovered that some other people have had similar experiences with their experiments at the college. Is there anything that Lucas would maybe be interested in doing?
Muted. Unmute.
Yeah, I'll just try and hunt down the guy with the telescope because that's the other person I know who's having the signal issues, whatever.
Yeah. So you head down to the astronomy department, and you know a couple of the guys from there. You're kind of on friendly terms with them. You probably say hello to them in the morning or something, and you're kind of directed to this one guy who said that he's been having this issue. You know, his name is Arnold Jones. Yeah, and he agrees to kind of speak with you and see you in one of the kind of side rooms. He's probably a bit young. He's quite a young fella actually, probably a lot younger than Lucas. And he's kind of a little bit confused as to why he'd be speaking to him about something like this. He just kind of figures it's equipment malfunction or something. What?
My good.
Yeah.
My good man. So I've been doing some radiation experiments in the other wing of the campus. I appear to be having issues that seem to be similar to your own. Basically, every hour or so, my experiment pulses for like a second off and on. Like something's interfering with my experiments. I was speaking to a friend, a colleague of mine, and he had mentioned that you had recorded similar issues with your telescope. Was that a similar sort of pattern?
Yes, it was. It's going out of focus every now and again. Not sure what's causing that. Had the telescope checked over, and everything seemed to be okay. I have no idea what's causing it. Yes, very odd. There were some rumours going around. You probably heard about that fellow in geology, yes?
Yes, the quiet one, the shy
guy. Yes. Yeah. Well, he was having some issues similar as well, so I hear. I've been quite mad, apparently.
Yes. Well, if no one here seems to have any idea of what may be causing it, I may have to hunt him down as well and see perhaps if he has any if he had any results tracking down the source of this, whatever this interference is.
Hmm. Well, if you find out, bloody handy to know, old
I'll
chap.
be sure to pass it on.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
With any luck, it's just something we can calibrate around and nothing too serious.
And you kind of leave him. Do you want to make your way to old Nobby's house?
Oh dear. Oh,
Too many PG Woodhouse novels. Norbert, his name would be. And he lives in some kind of like leafy suburb of London. He opens the door when you knock. It's quite a modern house that he lives in. It's quite garden's well maintained. He's standing there. He's kind of dressed very casually. He's with his slacks and a jumper on. He looks kind of tired. But he smiles when he sees you. He's he's a little surprised to see you too, I guess. Hi, Lucas.
Not a bit. How have you been, old
How
chap?
are you? Ah, I've been too well, old boy. Did you want to come in?
Sure, if you don't mind.
And he steps out of the way of the door to allow you through. And you notice that as you step through and he goes to shut the door, he kind of looks out and he looks up, or kind of closing the door behind you. He leads you through to the sitting room. Yes, I suppose you've heard.
Heard what, my old friend?
They think I've lost it, you know.
Well, you don't seem to be particularly out of sorts. Maybe it was just a
No.
bit of stress and they misunderstood.
Well, yes, perhaps. Tell me, did you notice anything when you arrived?
Nothing out of the ordinary. To be fair, I wasn't really looking.
Yeah.
Well, what are you referring to?
You didn't notice anything, in the trees or anything, did you?
Nothing really stood out. But
No?
would you like me to go have a look?
No. It's here. I'll just make some tea. No, take a seat.
Oh, sure.
He makes tea for you both, and then he sits down. And he says, "Are you just here to check on me? Is that the?"
Well, partly. One other thing that there was a problem I was having with my experiments at the campus, and someone mentioned that you may have had similar problems. You see, I'm trying to do a radiation display experiment. However, every hour or so, I'm getting these like interference patterns, like pulses every second or so. Like there's some signal or something that's interfering with my works. Someone said you may have had something similar with one of yours. Did you ever get the? Did you ever find the cause?
Yeah. He reaches down and he collects his cup of tea, and it audibly rattles in his hand as he lifts it up. Sounds rather familiar. Have you seen anything at the window? He says.
Nothing as yet. I was having a similar report also in astronomy, but he didn't mention anything either. If anything stood out. These black birds, you say?
Yeah. Yes. I had. Look, I had a friend in biology. Have a little dig around, see if you can find anything out about them. I've never seen anything like it before. A great black bird. It seemed to be watching me through the window when I was carrying out the experiment. And Anyway, all he could find was some obscure references to documents in the old library at Bridgester University. I haven't managed to get out there myself.
Well, perhaps if it would help you out, I could have a look on your behalf. Did you have any details? Maybe I could help me track them down.
He wasn't able to find out too much, as I say. It was just some obscure references to some folklore documents in the old archives, apparently. That's all I had, I'm afraid.
Oh, no worries. I mean, I'm sure someone there will be able to help point me in the right direction. Hopefully, there's nothing to worry about. Maybe, perhaps, whatever you were experimenting on, just I don't know. Maybe it just attracted the local wildlife for some reason. But hopefully,
Yes.
it's nothing more than that.
Yes, yeah, perhaps you're right. I must have let the old
Strange
nerves
air.
get away from me a bit.
Yes.
Still, it's awfully decent of you to come see me, old boy.
No, I'm happy to. Thank you for the tea.
Alrighty then. Shall we jump back to? Oh, sorry. Let me just figure. Let's go from here. What's the plan for Abraham and no for Arthur and Sally here then?
I think I know my way to the library. I registered librarian. I had the call to be there as a student. My studies took me there occasionally. I think I will.
Okay. Would this be the Britechester, the old library in Britechester? Is that what you're thinking of going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll head there.
Okay. I
She
mean, it's going to be
put
it's a
some
bit of a bit of travel that's required.
Do either of us own a car?
Well, I'll leave that up to you.
I don't.
I do,
so
then.
I'm assuming then that Dr. Wright, Professor Wright, is also going to be heading to the old library. I guess. How surprising! How.
I wonder what we want the others to do.
So yeah, well, let's find out. Let's find out. Let's find out what Dr. Baker and Helen Howell are up to now that they've dismantled this bird, this strange black bird. And this odd scent, this aroma has completely filled this room, and it gets quite sickening after a while. But you dissect this bird, and you kind of lay these different parts out. This black fluid has oozed out all across the dissecting table. Kind of leaving just kind of like this empty husk of a brain that's left from this bird.
I think.
What should we do then, Doctor?
I think maybe we should go and check the maybe the
Maybe
library.
find some research at
Yes,
the library.
yes,
Yes, that'd be a brilliant idea.
The
Every piece
word
of
almost got
information.
away there.
Yes.
It's very.
That was pretty fucking railroady, wasn't it?
Yes.
Good idea.
Let's go to the library.
Yes.
See
Shall we
if
just scrape this up first?
Let's just put the carpet over it for now.
Yeah, you managed to, all you have is little hanky.
We'll just cover it up for now. We should study this further, but we need to document and research, see if there's anything else that see if anyone else has come across anything like this. This is very peculiar.
Okay. Well, I don't think anyone's booked in to use this theatre for a while, so I think we're okay to do a bit of research, maybe come back and put it away properly.
Good idea. Good idea.
So shall we to the loft then?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. So we'll
The
head
library.
to the library.
What a surprise! Who would have thunk it? Okay, so you're heading down to the library in the the old library in the at Bridgester University, which is really quite handy because at around the same time, how will you guys all meet up? That's a good question, actually. You're doing research, and you all seem to be doing research on a similar kind of subject.
Well, when we get there, we're going to see if Pritam Singh's there, aren't we?
Hmm.
So we're going to ask for him.
Yeah.
So that I mean, so we've got like a lead in there. The other guys haven't, have they? They haven't got a name.
No.
We're just looking at books.
Yeah.
So maybe when we get there, we sort of get into the library. And I ask for Pritam Singh.
Yes.
And I'm not a quiet character.
Playing against type a bit there, aren't you?
Right. Okay. So, when on the way here, obviously Arthur. I was driving, so Arthur read the notes. So what did Arthur find out from these notes?
Yeah. I mean, it's a series of correspondences with this Pritam Singh, and basically the letters kind of are Abraham. He's requesting material about these birds and basically myths and legends as well that are kind of connected to these things. And some of the information that's kind of come back is kind of pointing at old folklore. And that the fact that the folklore section of the museum, the library here at the university is is world class. It's very extensive. And he's suggesting that Abraham his research would probably be better if he could actually come and visit personally and check through the archives. So it's kind of it's quite businesslike. You know, there's not much small talk or anything like that, if you like. It's just...
So Arthur's
this
been
stuff.
asking for information, and this guy's sort of. So what was he asking for information about? Deformed black birds, or
He was asking questions about birds. There was kind of mention of like mythology,
okay,
folklore, sightings of unusual creatures, and particularly ones that appear to have perhaps been like chimeras, using bits of other animal in
okay.
their own makeup.
So while we were driving along, obviously he's reading this information to me. So I speak to Pritam Singh. Is he on the desk when we get there? Is he?
And he's this incredibly well-dressed Indian gentleman.
Hello, sir.
Speaks impeccable English.
I wonder if you could help me. We're here on behalf of our friend Abraham Kale. We have his letters here. You've been corresponding with him.
Ah, yes, I remember him.
Fortunately, our colleague is very poorly at the moment, and he's in hospital.
Oh, I am sorry to hear that.
But he's asked us to carry on his research. We've been reading up on it on the way here. Very strange.
Most disturbing. I didn't read it all. I found it to be very fevered.
Is everybody else sat at the tables now, like looking for books and that? Are you all there?
Yes,
So
I'm
we're all
sat
reading.
here.
yeah.
I've been like
Frantically.
drawing some. I've literally drawn loads of pictures of what I saw, the blackbird, all over the table. And
So okay, so I'm kind of sitting there. I'm standing there and going, well, in these letters, he said you had some books on mythology, some folklore, and sightings of some unusual creatures. And he seems to have a bit of a thing about strange birds following him at the moment. Any of the books that you mentioned to him in the letters, have you got anything that you could bring out for us to have a look?
Well, I've obviously conducted a little bit of research by proxy for Mr. Kale when he was sending me his correspondence. I may be able to find some of those items for you. Certainly. Lucas? You were going to drive over to Briarchester at the bequest of your friend. You've kind of arrived at the university, this kind of gothic monstrosity, and this building in the centre of it is where the building is the library. This bleached white main building, and you've kind of arrived up there. And as you kind of walk through, you can hear, you see that there's a couple of people standing at the desk. One of them, I don't know, how does Arthur look? Does he dress? Would he wear a dog collar? This is a good question. I don't know, so we can just make this up.
I am wearing my long. It's not tweed. It's sort of brown Hessian like material. It's pretty cheap. It's not as cheap as Hessian, but it's it's got that kind of just and he's got a dog collar on. Oh yeah, of course he does. He's in public. He always has a dog collar on. He's a man of the cloth, or he wants to be. So yeah, definitely he's and he's got this kind of large robe that he wears over. Not ceremonial or anything. It's just I can't remember the name of the material it is, but it's like tweed except without the patterns. Plain tweed, long brown cassocky type thing.
Oh, okay. And obviously you're not dressed as a nurse, Sally, but you're standing at this desk as this gentleman, older gentleman, who arrives. What do they see as Lucas? Does he stand out in a crowd?
Probably not quite so much. I mean, he'll be sort of smartly dressed, but like nothing like too fancy. Very sort of like clean cut, middle of the road. Have a tie, maybe like a little jacket, a bit of a tie, but nothing too bold or too fancy.
So I'll see if I can get some pictures up of these people to show to you. That would be Arthur Knott. Okay. So these people that I guess you're going to go and sit down, Arthur and Sally, and wait for Pritam Singh to find you the information you've asked for. Man, I'm trying to find something here. There we go. Even have these appear. You seeing those?
Yeah.
Pictures? They appearing for you?
Mhm.
Yeah, they're coming up.
Yep.
Oh, that's one hell of a moustache going there.
Yeah. So as they kind of step away, this incredibly dapper Indian gentleman, he looks up at you, Lucas. He says, doesn't look like an academic, sir. How can I help you?
Hi, I'm here on behalf of a friend of mine, doing some research on some peculiar wildlife that he's been having some issues with.
You see him look across at the two people that had just sat down. Well, really? He says.
Yeah,
Not quite
he's,
sure if somebody here is if this is some kind of student prank that is about to occur.
It's all the students' fault these days.
Well, you always
Sorry,
blame the
what did you just
students.
say, Doctor?
He mentioned these birds. Apparently, somebody had been corresponding with had mentioned something about the folklore section of your archives. You see, though I don't know how they kind of relate. Maybe it was he's been a bit stressed as of late, so I wonder perhaps if something he's read there may have excited him a bit too much. But I thought I would check it out on his behalf.
That is very interesting, he says suspiciously.
Interesting. How?
Because the couple over there, they have just asked me for the very same thing. Isn't that interesting?
That is most intriguing.
You can see he's weighing you up. I mean, he's not expecting you to be playing a prank on him. You don't look like a student. Is this some kind of joke, sir?
Joke. I'm not sure what you mean. Not at least not that I'm aware of. Perhaps if it is, I'm as like aware of it as you are. But regardless, I'm here on behalf of a friend. I don't know these people you mentioned, but perhaps they can elucidate us.
He steps out from behind the counter. He walks across to the where the other two are sitting. And he gestures you over. And he kind of looks at the three of you and he says, I really am far too busy for your childish pranks. If you wish to conduct some proper research, then the library is at your disposal. But I will not have you waste my time. These ridiculous displays of immaturity.
Wow.
Burn!
Ben.
Not on my watch.
So, what are our other two characters? What are we looking for? What are we doing?
I don't know. We're going through the history, trying to see if there's ever been any documentation.
Have they got? Are they already there then?
Oh yeah, we're
Yeah,
already there. We
these
just
were
need
already-
someone to hold our hands.
We've
Yeah.
ran.
Oh,
Yeah, they're already here. They figured it out by themselves.
We've got stacks of
Um,
books. All the books that you want, we've got on our table.
Yeah, well, we're kind of we're
Yeah.
looking to see if there's been any history of cross animals being thing. Probably, maybe looking at the Egyptian history because there was a lot of mixed matching of animals in their history sort of thing. Seeing if it.
Oh, that's an interesting take on things. Yeah. How
also,
about?
Oh, sorry.
No, carry on. You carry on.
I was going to say, I've also managed to grab a few of past few months' local papers because sometimes there might be like little stories in there. And I know libraries tend to keep a hold on the last years of papers.
Oh, now this is interesting.
So
Now-
I'm sifting through those.
Yeah. That's great. I would like you both to make a roll.
Okay. What kind of role?
I think a forward roll would be great. But you can do a backward roll.
these 3 beers in. Just do a roll of 6.
Insight roll, or roll? Of
No, just do
expertise?
a regular roll. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I mean, if you feel that your occupation might assist you in using a library, you could roll again. You could roll another dice, couldn't you? But that's up to you.
I'll take it.
I'm happy with the 5.
You're happy with the 5? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you would be.
You should have gone for 6.
you have found yourselves in the basement,
Oh.
where the archives are.
How do we end up here?
Yeah, wrong turn, I guess. And yeah, this is where all the old folklore and stuff like that would be kept. Apart from the the serious stuff, which is probably kept upstairs. In fact, you're in you can be all over the place. You're collecting information, and you're going to take it up to the reading room upstairs, and you're going to start going through the information that you've found. And you have found some interesting stuff.
Mm.
But actually, Helen, you found nothing, except
My
You-
presence helped motivate
She's
the
holding the
doctor.
candle. It's very dark now.
You've got this. Go on.
No, it's a team effort. It's a team effort.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you find, as you're kind of searching through some of this, it's not what they would class highbrow stuff, I guess. But they're kind of keeping records from old newspapers and old journals and things like that. And you come across this thing. It's a letter in this year's Proceedings of the Royal Biological Society from Dr. Julius Bailey, where they are discussing a specimen that was found dead within the Severn Valley. And it's probably, no more than 15 miles from where you are right now. And they were saying how they'd found this odd creature. It was externally, it resembled this large insect. And when they kind of examined it, it proved to be, and this is their words, a strange contraption of bones and sinew, apparently from many animals. And then it said, had I not observed from my window such another creature in flight, I would have assumed the specimen a contrivance, yet I do believe it is real.
Did it say if any of the bits were human?
It doesn't mention that, but it does mention it seemed to be made up, much like your bird. It mentions that there was bits of other animal. It was made up of bits of other animals. So it's obviously quite a large insect that they'd found. So nothing that you would have expected to find, certainly in the UK. But he'd clearly seen one that was in flight as well. So it wasn't just just like you found the dead bird. They'd found this dead insect, but they'd also seen another one like it that was flying.
Do I recognize any of the names on this article?
You don't actually. I mean, it's kind of like an amateur journal that somebody's put together. So it nothing on there kind of really means that much to you.
So the only good bit of information there is just the location, then, right?
Well, I mean,
date on it?
that's only part of what you found. But I kind of feel we need to kind of get the other characters in here as well. So, I think that you are going to persuade Pritam Singh, right? That this is not a joke somehow.
You did.
Well, if you're quite happy to throw accusations around and don't want to be of any help whatsoever, could you at least point me towards your archives in the relevant section, and I'll find my own way.
Yeah, and he's quite taken aback by your forthright attitude, coupled with the fact that you do not look like a student.
I'm a professor.
And he kind of looks at the three of you and says, "This isn't a joke, is it?
No.
Do you even know each other?"
Never seen them before in my life.
Well, in that case, he suddenly is very, very courteous, and he's saying, "Well, perhaps I will get the information that you have been requesting," he says to Arthur and Sally, and kind of moves away with his tail between his legs, and disappears back behind his counter, looking quite embarrassed. A few moments later, he kind of emerges with some few books and says, you know, this was some of the books that your friend had requested. And places them on the table. The reading rooms are just through there, he says. We do have a strict policy of silence in the library, of course. It's gone very quiet.
Very
That's
silent.
not. Yeah, I was
just
expecting
said
silence. But
silence.
Jesus
Proper
Christ.
role play, guys.
Yeah.
We're silent in the
Wow.
library.
It's quite impressive, this Pritam Singh.
It's Troll's fault. Trolls gave us a raid and distracted us all.
Yes, hello, Raid.
Hello,
Welcome.
Raid. Welcome.
Welcome, Ruth.
Thank
Willkommen.
you.
Bienvenue. Welcome.
It's
We're
good.
civilized folk, and here we respect the rules of the library.
Sorry.
You shh. Do you want to take this outside?
So have these three come into the same room that we are
No,
in?
it's not scary yet, trolls. No, we haven't.
No,
got
but
to
we
the
found
scary bit.
deformed animals with fingers as ribs.
Yeah, that was a little bit scary.
Yeah, that's just, I don't know, it just sounds odd. So, you gather up these books, I assume.
Yes.
Yes, we're all going to gather up and then go referencing the books down in the archive.
Okay.
Are we going to pick up the books at the same time? It's like an awkward tug of war.
Yeah, yeah, that's.
There, it's my
You notice-
research.
Roll
You
to see
notice
the winner.
that Arthur's hanging back and he's not delving into these books.
Oh, okay. He's ooh, right. Okay, got you.
Suspicious.
What? It's
We
against.
need more
it's against
information.
God.
Let's should we this it says here that we could get some books further in this part. Should we wander down? Arthur, you're not are you coming?
I tell you what. Why don't we just kind of cut to the chase here and make some rolls, people?
Right, fine. Fine.
What we're rolling
haven't-
for.
You don't have to
We're-
roll.
we're not
You've
there.
already rolled.
We're in a nice
You've
bright
already done
library.
it.
We're enjoying ourselves.
Can you see? Can you see, Doctor?
Yes, thank you.
yes,
Very
see.
good. Hold it high.
Good job. Is that good?
No. So was Arthur rolling?
Yep. He's looking
Oh,
around.
is,
He's
is
not-
he rolling, or is it because you were saying he's
no.
hanging back? Is he
He's
not
hanging
sure
back,
about this?
but he's hanging back, but he's still looking around. So
Oh,
if
okay.
something, if something does catch
Yeah,
his
maybe he
eye-
gets drawn into the kind of the whole. Oh yeah, fighter. Lucas, are you rolling? Rawhide.
Oh,
Okay.
Arthur
Well,
rolled a
the
6.
6 kind of wins it for you, really, though, doesn't it? Let's face it. Okay.
Making the rest of us redundant, Arthur.
He wasn't even trying.
You're
That's the
high
thing.
rolling.
I wasn't even trying. I was just
I
looking
am
over your
guided
shoulder.
by the will of God, of course.
So you find, as you're kind of searching through this material, you come across Arthur. You come across this chance reference to the Institute of Geography. That leads you to this article: further observations made during a Himalayan expedition in the 1816 journal. You're in a library. There's no music. At the author, James Bradbury Finch, reports discovering a creature assembled of diverse parts from man and beast, from those I know not, seemingly bound by fungus. This creature, however, is not described as avian, but ape-like. No.
Hmm.
And it wouldn't be a Cthulhu game without some kind of handout.
We love a good handout. We love a Cthulhu
Yeah,
handout.
get your reading heads on.
We love a
You
handout.
don't have to read it. I've just kind of.
Who's going to read it?
No, it's quite long, So it's there. What I'll do, I will allow you to peruse this at your leisure.
Well, that didn't make it much better for chat. Sorry. Everyone's.
Well, the chat can't read it. Shall one of us read it because the chat can't see it?
I should like to add some observations to the interesting discussions of Himalayan geological discoveries that occurred in the January number of this journal. In 1909, Barrett reported finding a cadaver resembling that of a monkey, which he noted incorporated known parts of other anatomies. What is this that we're reading? Including the spine of a fish and the use of moss in binding limb joints. Oh my goodness. He suggests that this creature was at least partly constructed of a human hand, formed by some religious ritual as yet unknown. Although I would not question that the addition of certain parts of the specimen's anatomy could only have been the result of human construction, an observation from our own recent expedition suggests the matter may be more complex than it first appears. We observed a worm, and hence recently deceased ape, larger than others we had observed, and with an appearance of deformity in its skull. Although the full internal examination was not possible, a brief study confirmed Barrett's observations of the use of moss in limb joints and the incorporation of other creatures' anatomy, including those of fish. The recent death of the specimen suggested it had not been constructed. I would hence tentatively suggest that the creature in some way assumes aspects of other anatomies. The mechanism by which this takes place is as yet unknown, but may be worthy of further investigation. What is this?
That is very strange.
I'm having this is incomprehensible. One cannot have two masters. This is not the world and the way of God. This is abhorrent.
It seems to be affecting.
It does. It does.
Arthur,
I was just
quite
moving
a
some
bit,
windows.
doesn't it?
I was just moving some windows out the way.
You think
Yeah.
it's worthy of an insight roll from Arthur?
I think it very much is.
Or
He's concerned about his friend. He's seeing these people around him with drawings and all that. And no, he finds this in a book. No, this is too much.
so we're still upstairs when we find this information.
I'm going to say you were probably in the basement, and there
Yeah,
are
we're in
two
the
other
basement.
people in the basement at
So-
this time that are
reading
discussing
this out.
something.
And he's read it out to
In a
me.
loud voice as well. 'Cause
Yes.
I'm so shocked by it.
Okay, so I guess our other two characters then, Dr. Baker and Miss Howell, overhear our friend reading this out loud.
Doctor, did you just hear what they said? It sounds very, very similar to what we're looking into.
Who said?
I don't know. Some people over there.
There's no one else down here.
Well, it's either that or I'm going crazy because I definitely heard somebody getting rather upset.
I mean,
Yes, very upset. You're almost shouting that bit at the end there, are you, Arthur?
Arthur, you need to calm down.
This is not
It's-
right. This is not how we do things. Why is this in this library? This is supposed to be a place of study.
See, can you hear that? They must be outside the door. Come in!
hello?
It
Is anybody there?
is from a journal.
Hmm.
Traditional source of study.
I will, I'm gonna walk up to the door and I'm gonna peek my head round. And I'm like, hello guys.
Hello.
Oh, sorry, did we disturb you?
It's okay, I think. Are you all right? It's very loud out here.
What are you
Sorry.
doing down here?
We're following some research, and my colleague here has is a bit distressed about what we've read. I'm sorry to have disturbed you. We're just following a line of research.
Okay.
Oh, very fascinating. What research is it?
Nosies ever.
You should be taking notes.
Okay, sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
We're just following a line of research to do with a bit of mythology and
Oh,
folklore and things like that. But the research we've taken has just given us some information. Sorry, you're here for?
Oh,
Wouldn't have
so,
the creepy animals, would it?
Strange birds.
Pardon, what was that?
What? Birds?
Strange
Angry
black
birds,
birds.
what?
Well,
Um,
yes, yes, we are looking also at mythological creatures and whatnot, and we found this bird. You see, not quite your normal sort. It's a bit jumbled up.
Deformed. I drew pictures if you guys want to come in and have a look.
It might.
I'll usher them
Couldn't
into the
hurt to
room.
have a look, could it?
it's not at all contrived. It's
Yeah, who cares? It's Cthulhu. Hand wave it. You're talking about birds. We have a colleague who's quite unwell at the moment, and he's been talking to us a lot about birds, and he's been doing some very strange drawings, and I don't think he's the best of drawers. And I show them a picture of this bird because he says that these birds are communicating with him. Obviously, he does draw with his left hand, so I'm wondering that he's slightly getting the birds confused. But he says that they're talking to him and following him, which is very strange. We understand. But we're here because of this strange folklore, and this is the route that the researchers took us so far. And I show you the pictures, going, look, they are rather bizarre.
and yeah, I guess from these pictures that they kind of show you, there is, and he's not a bad drawer, Ramkel, as I mentioned earlier, and there is something disturbingly familiar about him.
He definitely looks similar to what we saw earlier on. Doctor?
This is not a large work. A man of medicine who's been beset by foul beings would come up with these. I cannot believe my friend Abraham would take such a route in his life.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to pry, but what on earth are you on about?
His drawings. He said he was researching. He said they were talking to him.
So why isn't he here now, helping you guys?
Because the medical fraternity would have him committed. And I say that is probably quite right, although looking at what I've seen here and looking at what I see in front of me, I think perhaps a stronger word of God and perhaps some Holy Communion would do him some good.
It's quite understandable.
You're going to continue doing your research, are you not?
Yeah. Yeah. Doctor?
Arthur, I know this is distressing you. So I turn to the doctor and to the other chap and say, "This is a very strange coincidence that we're all here. Why are you here? I've told you. Why are you here?"
Well, a friend of mine was having, we've all been having issues with our experiments over at the campus. My friend, however, unfortunately had a bit of a turn from what I'd heard. I had visited him earlier today, and he mentioned these strange birds that were they're watching him. I didn't see anything that stood out to me at all, but he seemed quite determined that these birds were watching him from all angles. So he wouldn't leave his house. Which is why I'm here doing this research on his behalf, because I have no evidence of my own, but he is a friend, and I would try to help him out.
So your research is on mythology and folklore, like us.
I'm a physicist and a geologist. This is not really my area of expertise. But it was just a trip to the. I at first thought it would just be a trip to the library archive. Nothing terribly exciting, but then I heard you folks mentioned something similar. Now, these two who it's getting very strange. It's like a very, very unlikely coincidence.
So I turn to Stephen and Sally and go, oh, by the way, my name's Sally, and you are? Lean towards you all.
I'm Professor Lucas Wright.
And I look to Helen.
I'm Helen. I'm a student here. It's lovely to meet you. Sorry it's under weird circumstances.
And you, sir?
My name's Stephen Baker. I'm one of the doctors here. Who are you?
Oh, I'm a nurse, Sally Williams, and this is my colleague, Arthur Millennium.
How do you spell that?
That's not his name.
It is now.
Oh.
I am Arthur Knott. And
That's not his name, but actually it was.
Exactly. To be subtle.
Right.
So we all. So I do sort of say. So basically, we're all here because of strange birds.
Yeah, well, I don't want to worry you or anything, but we actually have a live well, not live actually. We have a dead specimen in one of my labs.
It's kind of in a few pieces.
I mean, it's not for the faint-hearted, but you're welcome to come and have a look. See, maybe you might be able to I don't know. Do you want to see it?
like this paper here.
Yes.
Did it come
Oh,
from? Did it
While
come
they're
from-
talking, I'm still reading through all the books
Well,
and notes and stuff.
Okay.
One of our
Yeah.
students found it on the grounds, and we just found an article about not too long ago, not too far away, another similar event happening. And unfortunately, I don't know any of the people who have done this article, and I mean, we know the area, but I don't think there'll be anything there now. But like I said, the specimen we found was only found recently.
It is the work of Satan.
Well, I thought it was a prank.
Look, this is just too much of a coincidence, and I hand over the paper about the Geographical Institute and the
Yeah.
discovery in Himalayas.
Yes. And this is the bit that this is the paper that you heard Arthur reading out loud from, about another kind of animal that seems to have been constructed as opposed to actually growing. Well, I say it's constructed of different animal parts, but it doesn't. It appears to be a natural phenomenon because somebody witnessed one flying around. Strangely, but these were insects, not birds. And I guess if Helen is still doing her research, then she'll find a couple of other articles as well. Yeah, there's a book that she finds. It's called Creatures of Hypothesis and Fact. And seems to it has this extensive, but it's kind of ill-organized collection of legends on crows and ravens, and it explains that since medieval times, these ravens have been reputed to guard the Tower of London, and on the death of a raven, the others kind of gather around it in this raven funeral, squawking as it's buried. And a diary entry from 1816 it refers to, it's not held in the archive, is notes an instance of these ravens actually tearing each other to pieces as well. And as you kind of pull your skills together, you find lots of kind of references. It seems to be that these things have been around for a long time, and people have kind of been mentioning them. And it's one of these things where it's kind of considered just like an old wives' tale or whatever, and kind of thrown and discarded, and so nothing is properly connected. But it seems that a lot of this stuff has been going on for quite some time. You find references of um, cults that have formed up um, around these creatures. Several
Cults,
have
you
been
said?
reported. Cult, yeah.
Oh,
Several have been
goodness.
reported, like in the Lake District. And one such a cult is documented through the letters of a local priest, and it's dated like 1598. So this is a long time ago. That reportedly this cult sacrificed their daughters to these birds that afterwards kind of ate the corpse of the offering. Um, and I think Lucas probably is more likely to find the geological side of things more interesting, and he finds this section uh, in the geological reference section. There's this small bit of information. It cross references to the folklore archive, um, which is kind of irritating at first, but then you kind of, as you put the elements together, you realize that there may be something to it, and that this local legend recounts a meteorite that has this pulsing phosphorescence that occurs every few seconds. Um, there's by linking this information to some astronomical reports, you're able to date the meteor to within a few months of the year 1598. This thing came down. Somewhere, oddly enough, in the Lake District.
So I guess a lot of this is pointing towards the Lake District.
There is, and you
Right.
kind of you find other references to the Lake District. Once you kind of catch on to that, you find other references to the Lake District. There's a in the folklore archive again, a badly printed journal called the Minutes of the Penrith Convocation. It's dated earlier this year. It contains this recent report on black birds of an unknown species in a town called Rydal, or village called Rydal in the Lake District.
Sounds like if we need
It just
to.
mentions the Lake District, but doesn't give a specific place.
Apart from the town of Rydal.
That's the different article that mentions the town.
Oh, okay.
That's talking about black birds.
Mead.
I do wonder with these. It's mentioned as pulsing meteorites. I wonder if this pulsing is what has been messing with my experiments. Perhaps we could use my equipment to perhaps triangulate this source if that is what is causing my problems. It might help us. Like at least we know it's in the Lake District. We might be able to narrow it down further.
Ooh, that is a funky idea, isn't it?
Oh no.
No, that's a great idea.
So are we saying then that this meteor has landed and radiated animals and made them strange?
It sounds like that, but it also sounds like human cult involvement at the same time got involved and made it worse. That's what I would depict from this.
It sounds corrupt. I
Oh yes, definitely.
would seek this out. It perhaps would help Abraham if we could find out what has caused his madness. I look at Sally when I say that.
It may be madness, but any religion is a group of people who follow something. So just a way of them believing in something. So
There is
but
only
right
one
now,
God, and this is not it. We should
they
seek
may
it
believe
out.
in the same God, but it's just a different way of
Oh, no,
showing that.
that's not.
Perhaps this is just a science we do not understand yet.
Yes, I'm believing there is a science thing here. And I think I know what I mean.
It will end up
So
in the path. I will like to seek this as Abraham's research, so perhaps his secret of his cure would be there as well.
I think we should head to the Lake District, to this town. Because if there is a meteorite there, or there is something that's making these birds attack people or send people a little bit funny, well, they need to be destroyed.
That's harsh.
This will make for a really good school report, so I'm definitely in.
Oh, I've not been in the field for quite a while. Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
if you excuse me, I must visit the gentleman's.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let's all do that. Not together, because that would be weird.
Let's hold hands.
Okay, thanks.
Should we take a little break?
Yeah, we could take a break. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So we'll be back in 10 minutes, guys.
Nod.
Nod. 10 minutes. Yes.
Nod. What? I don't get.
Is the nod because
Hello, everybody.
We're back.
Hi.
Howdy.
We apologise for all the people that keep getting blocked.
Nightbot will
We've
be
got an
gone.
overzealous Nightbot going on.
Yeah, I think we might kick Nightbot out actually. Yeah.
We
He's
kick
having
it in
a
the
lot of fun.
balls. That's what we're going to do.
Got tired
I think
of that.
Cthulhu's took over Nightbot.
No, Dennis. No, Frank.
Dennis.
We're having a
Frank.
conversation about what the name of our monkey is. It's between Frank and Dennis right now.
No, it's not
Dennis.
between.
Cthulhu
Look, you
says
lot.
it's Frank.
It's not. It's the monkey looks like a Dennis, and we're not going into debate. We debated the logo for a week or more, so I chose. It's not even up for debate. His name's
That's
Dennis.
because I did the
Let's
drawings first. I
let's
did the
just-
first drawings. They were hilarious.
Let's just, yeah.
You
let's
drew
just
porn.
like what it is.
It
I think it's more of a Harold.
Harold. Harold the monkey. What is this? Dennis the monkey. Harold the monkey.
Winston,
Frank
that's
the
fine.
monkey.
That's fitting.
Is it? Shouldn't it be Marvin?
George.
Marvin.
Marvin the monkey.
He was an
That's a
android.
good one.
There you go. Thank
Maybe-
you very
I like
much. And
that one.
I just plucked that out of the air like that.
Well,
Well
is it
done.
the
Marvin the
superhero
monkey.
matching the first letters there.
I don't know why we're even debating Dennis's name.
Alliteration. That's where it's at.
Dennis doesn't identify as a Dennis.
Dennis is
Troll
fine.
says Freddy. Freddy the monkey.
We're not doing Freddy.
We're not,
I'll go for Freddy.
Freddy.
With an I.
can't do Freddy.
Do
I
we
can't, we
need
can't
to
do
do a
Freddy.
community poll?
No, we do
No,
not.
Freddy's no, Monkey McMonkface. What?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I can't do Freddy. Sorry, trolls.
We've
Freddy's the name
timed
of,
out the Nightbot.
Freddy's the name of my grandson. I can't do Freddy.
He is a monkey.
He is a monkey. He's a monkey. He is. He's a
Right.
little
Back to the lovely Lake District.
sod. Monkey McMonkface. It's more fun to kind of talk about the name of Frank, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dennis, get
Let's
on with the
talk about
story,
Frank.
knobber.
Let's be
Love
frank. Right. A railway trip is in order then, yes?
Mhm.
It's a 6-hour rail trip. There's a couple of waits at Birmingham and Oxenholme stations in the cold before you arrive in Windermere. And then it's a 15-minute bus drive from Windermere to Rydal, this town identified. It's a village, in actual fact. It's a very, very small place. Right next to Rydal Water, there's an old quarry. And you're sat on this bus, this rickety old bus that's driving through the Lake District countryside towards Rydal. And it rounds a corner as it goes crests the top of a hill, and you can just make out a few of these kind of houses in the distance as the bus turns this corner. And I'd like you all to just make a roll, if you would. Just make a regular old D6 roll. Well, that'll do you.
Are we all rolling this? Sorry.
Yeah, well, yeah, just, yeah.
A regular D.
Oops.
Look at that. Lucas.
Aroused as me. Aroused.
Yeah, Lucas, you. As the bus kind of rounds this corner, you suddenly become aware of there's a whole flock of sheep suddenly in the road, and it doesn't appear that the bus driver has noticed it. He's kind of looking out across the countryside as well as he turns this corner. But you see that there is a flock of sheep sitting on the road. What do you want to do? Quickest possible, time is money.
It's just a flock of sheep in the road.
In the middle of the road.
It's random.
The road that
that's
you're
right.
on.
Right.
By Jove, that band doesn't seem to be seeing the flock of sheep in the road.
Sure. We'll be on our way soon.
Yeah. How does?
Did the bus is stopping?
No, he doesn't see it. That's what I'm getting at.
Jeep!
How does how does one dislodge a pack of sheep?
Well, you can drive straight into them if you want. Which, if you're doing nothing, is exactly what happens. And there's this horrible, sickening thud as a large slab of meat impacts on the front of this bus. Before it screeches to a halt, and you're kind of thrown forwards in your seats. Everybody except for Professor Wright, who was aware of the whole thing that was going on. And the bus screeches to this halt. And the bus driver is at the front. He's swearing and he's shouting. And the next thing you know, there's a guy who is extremely angry. He's walking up towards the bus and he's banging on the windows. And he's shouting at the bus driver, and telling him what a terrible driver he is, and he's yelling and quite aggressively.
Oh, what a stupid man! You stupid man! Did you not see the sheep? He's not.
And the bus driver is like, like a rabbit in the headlights as this is all going on. This is the fella that we're
Are the sheep
see
okay?
banging on the windows. And what's that? Sorry.
Sheep okay?
No, they're not.
What?
Of course they wouldn't be. And yeah, there's a couple of these sheep corpses kind of laying on the floor in front of this bus. This man is livid, and he's kind of screaming and shouting at the bus driver. What are you doing? Why you look where you're going? Look what you've done. And then he does this thing which kind of attracts your attention, which is he kind of goes.
Arthur, did
What did you say?
He's just banging and shouting on the window.
Sally, did you hear that?
I did.
Hear what? What are you guys on about? Nothing?
But he did a strange tick, and our friend.
He did that too.
Is this
He
the
just
one in
that
the
tick.
hospital?
Yes, in the hospital.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean a tick?
He made this.
Do you mean how he was
opened it-
shouting at everyone?
I thought he was blowing his nose. It sounds like a sharp exhaling of.
Wait a minute, and can I get out the bus?
Yeah, I mean the bus is not going anywhere at the
So I
moment.
get out the bus and I go, Sir, are you okay?
Why?
I'm so sorry about our bus driver.
Yeah, bloody maniac driving like that.
Are your sheep okay? Has he killed
Bloody
any?
city folk should know better.
It's not us.
Come out here as if you own the place.
It's not us,
Look what's
sir.
happened.
It's not us, sir. It was the bus driver. Are you okay? Do you need a tissue?
What? I'm fine. What? Look at the sheep.
I looked down at the sheep. Does it look normal?
I'd like you to make a roll for that.
Oh.
It's not an insight roll, just a regular roll. Right. There's a couple of these sheep corpses that are kind of like these dead sheep. Poor things, been hit by this bus. They're in a mess. There's blood kind of leaking out across the road. It's kind of seeping out, covering the road in front of the bus right now. But there's something about these sheep that does kind of strike you as a little bit weird. Firstly, you can see that one of them, one of these sheep that's kind of lying dead there, the foot of it, instead of kind of a normal kind of sheep hoof, I think they have hooves, don't they? Sheep. Looks like a bird-like claw.
One of his feet. He's got
Yeah,
like.
just one of these feet, yeah. And that kind of makes you kind of look over this corpse a little bit more, and then you're kind of aware that there's something wrong with one of the sheep's eyes as well. I mean, you've seen sheep's eyes before. You remember perhaps dissecting them in a science class or something, or when you were training as part of your biology training or whatever. And this doesn't look like a sheep's eye. Maybe a dog's eye, maybe?
Oh, I should have turned round and because obviously they're still in the bus. I kind of stand up because obviously he hit them at the front, and I look through the window at the guys and go.
I mean, that's a pretty good roll you made there as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I kind of go, sort of like gesture like them to come and have a look at the sheep and
I
quickly.
am not getting off the bus, but I'm going to peer my head against the window and look down like,
Yeah.
I'll get off the bus and go and inspect.
Stephen,
Okay.
Stephen, there's something very, very peculiar about this, and I don't think Arthur should see this.
Let me have a look. What is it? Oh God, that's not normal.
Lucas, muted Lucas, muted Lucas. Would you like to come and?
Lucas.
Okay. Sure.
is
Come and look at
everybody
this.
getting off
Fuck
the
it over
bus?
and let's just have a look at the sheep for funsies, I guess. I'm not really a
The
biologist,
farmer
so
is having a.
yeah,
I mean,
there's
the driver has also got off the bus, and he's having a right go at the driver of the bus at the moment. The farmer is. So you've got time to kind of do whatever you want to do here.
I sort of pointed out, and then I'm actually going to turn around to the farmer and say, "Excuse me, sir.
What?
This is funny
What do you
because-
want?
This sheep here, it's got a wrong foot.
Nothing wrong with it.
That's not a sheep's foot.
Look, the meat on it would have been perfectly fine if you hadn't bloody run it over, you bloody maniac.
Oh no.
Can I look at the other sheep to see if there are any of the other sheep with deformities? that are
How
gone
about you make me a goddamn roll?
Damn you.
And I tell you what, Sally, I think you should probably be making some kind of insight roll as well, right? Just my idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're going up.
I'm fine with that.
Stephen, yes. As you kind of look across, you look across these animals. They're kind of scattered across the road at the moment. You see, even the ones that are still alive, there's some weird abnormalities about them. And perhaps the one that you notice most is there's this one sheep that kind of just looks at you. It has these kind of slightly avian-looking eyes, like a bird's eyes instead of a sheep's eyes, for example. And who was staying on the bus?
I am.
Okay.
I was kind of rushing out.
Was Arthur staying on the bus as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you both make me a roll as well?
Just a regular roll.
Just a regular roll. And? Oh, so pretty much at the same time, you're kind of aware, in the trees kind of that are lining this road, you can make out, all of a sudden, a lot of these large black birds that are
Get back
sitting
on the
there in the
bus.
branches. And they're sitting there and they're almost watching you impassively.
Get back
You
on
kind
the
of get
bus,
this feeling that
guys.
you're being observed.
Back on the bus.
What's
And they
wrong,
are-
Helen? It's just birds.
Yeah, but haven't we just been looking at all these creepy birds? And people are going mental over birds. And now look at these sheep. And look at those birds. I don't feel
What-
comfortable.
what do you
I
mean,
don't
look at
like it.
The sheep are just sheep. They're just here getting.
Oh yeah, no, the sheep are fine. Don't worry about it. Just don't like birds, me. I'm scared of birds.
I'm standing there still arguing with this farmer.
Yeah.
Farmer Giles. Just giving him that name.
Right. He kind of looks angry at you. I suppose you think that's funny, do you?
Your sheep are deformed.
Look, they're not lame. There's nothing wrong with them. Meat'll be fine.
But they're deformed.
And? What of it?
How many are all of your sheep deformed? It's got
Look,
a
I haven't got
bird.
time for this. I need to get these sheep out of the way.
I'm gonna walk to the front of the bus and I'm gonna lean out the door and I'm like, "Come on, guys, I think we need to go." Like, no, please. Are they moving? Is the bus driver
I don't know.
moving?
What are you guys doing? The bus driver, well, he takes the opportunity while Sally's kind of engaging with the farmer. He kind of takes the opportunity. He walks towards the bus. He's kind of shaking his head. And he kind of climbs up on the steps of the bus into the cab.
Good, because I was
And you
about
can
to
hear
do
him
this
kind of
one.
muttering under his breath. Bloody madman.
Did
Hopefully he
Stephen
knows.
see any of the other sheep with these deformities, by the way?
Yes, you were looking out
You did.
across them and you saw there was a bunch of
Loads of
different
them.
ones. Yeah. I mean, it's not blindingly obvious like the birds were.
Yeah.
You know that bird you looked at? It was quite obvious that there was something wrong with it because it was like misshapen or malformed.
Do we seem
But the
does,
sheep-
does the driver notice any of this, or is he too busy?
He just no. You maybe Stephen would suspect maybe he's in a little bit of shock.
Maybe we should get on the bus and get out of this area. I think we've caused enough trouble, and there's a lot of these creatures. We need to. I don't think we should be here right now.
I'm gonna sit down next to Arthur and I'm gonna say, "Could you maybe say a little prayer? I'm feeling a little bit on edge and I think it might calm me down a little bit."
Yes,
And I'm gonna
could
try and
you-
distract him.
You say a prayer.
Go on.
My covenant with you. Never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters or the blood. Never again shall there be flood to destroy the earth. There is nothing here that we need to be worried about. My child, we'll be fine. Please, let us put these silly notions away.
Okay.
Holy
so
shit! Give yourself inspiration.
Yeah. Oh, look at
Everybody, off the bus.
What are the birds doing? Are they still just watching?
Yeah. As you kind of look out of the window, you just kind of see them. They just sat in the trees, watching.
I'm not liking it.
There's no emotion or anything. They just seem to be staring directly at you.
Yeah, I'm not liking that.
Think we should
And
be on
eventually
our way.
the sheep get cleared off of the road. And this farmer, he gives you a splendid gesture as the bus drives away.
Rude.
And you kind of arrive a few minutes later in the town of Rydal, the village of Rydal, which is kind of right next to this massive lake, Rydal Water.
Did the birds follow or just stay? That would have not took my eyes off them.
Right, okay. In that case, it wasn't so much that they stayed, but perhaps you just became more aware.
Oh, dear.
Sanity roll.
There was more of them. As you drove
Right.
towards the village, you were seeing them on gate posts.
Yeah, more of them,
You
so
saw them in
you-
trees, on telegraph wires, and they all just seem to be staring at the bus as it passes them.
Before we get off the bus, I turn to Arthur and say, "Arthur, you know, I need to tell you something, and you need to accept this. Otherwise, we're not going to get very far for our friend." Those sheep were deformed in the same way as the birds. They
How
had-
has nobody noticed this?
It's normal
Absolutely.
here, but Arthur, you need to be strong here, and you need to accept that there's something wrong. Whether there's something in the water, whether there's some kind of radiation, but the animals here are strange. But did you not notice he did that same funny, weird tick that our friend did?
Hmm. Well, just like Abraham, we are righteous. What is happening here? Seems like a valley. But we must find out. We must make sure. If there is something here, perhaps it is God's will that He makes us walk in His righteous way to this place. Maybe what we can find here will test us.
The bus pulls into the village. It's a very, very small village. It's like a dilapidated farming community. This place, everywhere you kind of look, there's rusted corrugated iron roofs on cattle sheds, battered, um, but you assume still functional farm machinery in some of the fields. All the buildings here are like a grey with this dirty whitewash. And there's a collection of houses. This village, and a church. St. Paul's Church, the sign declares, and an inn called Green Man. There's this faded but illustrated sign outside depicting old folkloric green man. But the pub itself, it looks quite old. There's a steady drizzle has started to fall now, so it looks quite welcoming almost in this weather. You head on in.
Well, what time of day is it?
It's probably mid-afternoon.
Well, let's you know what? We should have jumped on this train, got here, and I'm not actually sure what we're going to look for. Let's get a room, and I will
Get a
try.
room.
Let's get a room.
We kind of should have spoken to the bus driver a little bit.
Actually, that's a good
maybe.
point. Did anybody mention to anybody where you were going? I'd be interested to know.
No, we
No.
just.
No, I'm not saying you got the opportunity here to say yes, I did. I'm not saying did you.
I'd have mentioned it to my flatmate.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
definitely would have mentioned it to the nanny. Looking
I mean,
after
I'm not
my
asking for
daughter.
any particular reason, of course.
I've not mentioned it to anybody.
So, but did you say you'd mentioned it to the nanny?
Yes. Yes, I've mentioned
Right.
it to the nanny who's looking after my daughter, because
Okay.
I couldn't just go away without any notice or anything.
Oh,
And
that's
my
right.
daughter, obviously, I explained. Probably not that we're going for weird animals.
No,
Wait
you
for
say you're
business.
going away for a few days.
With some colleagues to do
to
some field work.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can assume you had probably would have planned this trip a little, at least. You would have found
Yeah,
out
I would
where you
not
could
have
stay.
just run off at a minute's notice.
No, that
I
would be
would've. I'm a
crazy talk.
student.
Students do crazy things, so that's fair enough.
See ya.
Yeah, I'm a student.
um, so you enter this pub, the Green Man. Inside, it's dark. Quite a dingy place inside. It's all kind of black beams, faded or yellow plaster from the cigarette smoke, with an old oak wooden bar. There's a few seats kind of scattered around, and the way the pub is kind of designed, it's almost like you could hide away in this little kind of cubbies that you can kind of sit in and be away from the other patrons of the place. And you can kind of make out shadows, perhaps, of people that are sat in some of these darkened corners periodically. There's a guy at the bar. He's a big fella. He's kind of balding. He's probably in his mid-50s. He kind of, as you enter the group of you, he almost kind of curses under his breath as he
Mm.
see you come in. Yeah.
Do we hear? the
And then kind of
curse? It's
leans
not like
forward on the bar as you approach. Mhm.
I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to pay for anything. Just saying.
Student, bloody students.
So this bar, is it like a hotel or just a bar?
It's an inn, so yeah, there are rooms to rent if you
I
wish
should
to.
just go up to the bar and say, "Oh, we secured 5 rooms."
Oh yeah, yeah. You rang earlier, yes.
Yes, we did.
All right, yeah. Got rooms for you.
Splendid, splendid. Are we? Do you do meals?
I'm sure we could find you something. He says.
anything but lamb, if you don't mind.
We've got mutton.
Yeah, we got mutton. Yeah.
I'll come close and I'll say, would you happen to have a local newspaper that I could read, please?
He kind of eyes the group of you. I mean, you all look kind of fairly middle class, I guess, to a degree, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would say so. We're all professors and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, definitely.
So he kind of there's a little bit of disdain in his voice when he speaks to you. And so when he kind of says, well, "I'm sure we can find you something," it doesn't sound. Yeah, it doesn't sound like you're necessarily going to like what he's going to provide. You kind of get the impression he doesn't necessarily like folk like yourselves.
Sounds like our pub round the corner.
Yeah, it does a little bit.
Hmm.
We're not going to mention any names because, you never know. This is the internet after all. Yeah, this is a local pub for local people, that kind of thing.
Oh no.
Are there any newspapers around?
And he kind of chuckles and says, "You should be so lucky."
Do you not have many visitors in town, village, in town really, is it?
No, it's just a village. It's
Yeah, in this
collection of
village.
houses
You
and a
don't. It's
pub
not.
and
It's
a
not.
church.
We're just here for a couple of days. We're doing some research
Oh, research, is it? What
On
are
the
you
area.
researching then?
a meteorite,
A bloody what?
something that fell from the sky, a meteorite in
98.
1598.
Oh, so you've come to look for something that fell out of the sky in 1598.
Yep.
He looks at you and says that you do know what year it is, madam. And he smirks.
I mean, it
He's
wouldn't
just
be much of a
smirking.
research- It wouldn't be much of a research trip if we knew exactly where to find it.
Is there not any local history based around it? Because it would have been such a significant thing to have happened back then.
Oh, la-di-da, he says.
I think I'll go and talk to the minister. Does he have a house in this parish or perhaps town nearby?
He kind of switches his glance over to Arthur. He looks you up and down. Father Vincent. He'll be in later. Wants to come in for half.
Is it just farming in the area?
That's right. Something wrong with that?
No, I was just wondering. Just sheep farming?
Yes, there's sheep farming.
Our bus ran into a herd of sheep. A flock.
You probably shouldn't have told him that, Sally.
That'd
well,
be
we
nice,
didn't.
miss.
Folk come here and kill our sheep and everybody.
Doesn't seem fond of us in the first place. He definitely doesn't now.
Yeah, he's gonna love us now. You killed
We
my
didn't
friend
ask
there.
him to.
You don't like us. We ran over some sheep on the way in, by the way.
We're here to murder your sheep.
We
Thanks,
didn't ask him
Sally.
to.
You're like, you're currently asking, do you have other farms here? Because we've just run over some sheep. We
Yeah.
want some more.
Yeah.
That's basically how
Do you
it
have
sounds.
anything bigger?
Oh.
I do clarify to the chap. Obviously, we weren't driving. I thought we might. I feel very bad. I wanted to put my condolences to the farmer for his.
Well, the farmer would be Naismith, and I imagine you've probably already been on the receiving end of him.
He wasn't very happy with the bus driver.
But the lamp prices are gonna go down.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So I think this is all kicking off and just be like lean over the bar and just be like, could I get a pint? Whatever you've got. It's been a stressful day with these
Oh,
dogs.
stressful day, has it?
Yeah.
He pours you a pint. That'll be 7p, he says.
No pay up.
Okay.
What kind of people do we see in this pub inn thing?
They're
Bar
local
him.
folk.
Yeah, but what they do?
It's difficult to tell. You're kind of stood in this in front of the bar, with these kind of various different kind of areas that are sectioned off with these kind of wooden panels.
I'm very good at being sneaky and having a little look.
Oh,
I just want to see if there's any going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of. You can see. I mean, there's a few people in here, at least, because there's quite a heavy smoke. It's kind of curling up onto the ceiling, and forming this kind of layer above below the ceiling, and you can make out there's a couple of figures sat at tables at various points around the room. A guy that's kind of sat in front of the fire, smoking a cigarette. He's still got his hat on, which, it's not the done thing indoors, is it? But he's there anyway. He sat there with his hat on, and his kind of feet pushed out in front of him, stretching his legs. And then there's just the barman, and then a couple of other regular villager types that are just kind of going about the daily. Generally, the older people. You assume that most of the folks are still probably working at this time of day. It's only about 4 p.m. or something like that.
I want to go sit near to the guy sat with his feet up near the fire. If there's a table near him.
Yes, there is.
Perfectly normal legs.
I will.
What was that? Sorry, Lloyd.
With his perfectly normal legs.
Yeah.
It's perfectly normal legs. Yeah, there's no odd feet here that you can see. They're
Or eyes.
or eyes, no. Not that you can see. I mean, it's quite dingy in here.
So as I go to the table, because I want to interact slightly, I'm just gonna slightly walk past him and be like, "Oh, excuse me, sir, excuse me," and then I'm just gonna sit down and just sort of smile at him, hoping it will spark a convo.
Okay, yeah, he's an older gent. I say gent. He's looking quite rough shaven as he's sitting there in his hat. He's got a cigarette kind of hanging out of his mouth. He's staring into the fire. He barely even notices that you're there. But when you kind of speak to him, he just kind of nods and grunts a little bit, takes a cigarette out, flicks the ash into an ashtray, misses. And so there's like a little pile of ash that's kind of forming on the table nearby. He's got a whiskey glass that's set near him, which is almost empty. And he kind of looks across at you as you speak to him, and then looks back into the fire.
That was
There's
helpful.
Downey, eh? He says.
Yeah, you could say that. Not originally. I've just come from university.
Oh. Educated, eh?
Yeah, I'm studying science. It's quite interesting. That's kind of why I'm here, actually. We're just sort of exploring around. Can you tell me a little bit about your village? I actually know nothing about it. If you don't mind, I can buy you a whiskey if you'd like.
Oh, and that's the thing. As you kind of say, can I ask you about the village? He kind of looks at his whiskey glass as you say that.
Oh.
I'll get up, grab a whiskey,
Yeah.
buy one, and I'll bring it back to the table and kind of shuffle kind of close to him, but not directly at his table because I don't want to intrude completely.
Yeah. Okay. And so he knocks back the whiskey that he's got. And looks across. He kind of, you see this half smile flicker across his face when he sees you put another one down in front of him. History, you say?
Yeah. We heard about a meteorite that happened here in the 1500s. I can't remember the exact date, my friends do. Is there any local legends about that you know about? Maybe the town was built around it, or there's a site somewhere that has like an impact zone? I don't know. Is there anything interesting? I love interesting.
Oh, he says, I have no idea what you mean when you say meteor.
Basically, it's a large rock that falls from space, and sometimes you look up and people refer to them as shooting stars because they see a flame in the sky that flickers out. This one would have impacted because it would have been so large, and it might have made a crater in the ground. I'm guessing the fact that it was wrote about in a article that we found, it was probably quite large. So maybe a large rock that you guys know about or have something centered about. Anything like that here?
I don't
Look,
think you
he
should be
says.
making a doctor with these descriptions. I turn to the others.
Ooh.
Look, I might look old, he says, but I wasn't around in 1598.
We're just insulting the old town here, aren't we?
I didn't say that. I was just wondering if you had any stories. That was all. Some places, if there's something that's happened in the past, they'll build a town around them. So, as it was that long ago, I just wondered.
You sure do talk funny, he says. Takes another
thank
swig
you.
of his whiskey.
So, what about the animals here?
The animals?
Yeah, I got a lot of animals around here. I know it's the countryside and all, but I mean, the sheep seem a little unusual. They definitely don't look like the sheep from where I come from.
No, I suppose they don't, he says. But it's the birds, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I was trying to kind of subtly hint, but definitely the birds. There's a lot of birds.
Mm.
Have they been here long?
Well,
I would love for any of my party to come over and join me.
he takes a swig of his whiskey and
We're
he
watching
says,
you.
Yeah,
We're
we just at the bar drinking.
You know what?
Happened.
my great-grandfather, he said he'd seen similar things to them, those birds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they've only recently come back then?
Well, I don't know about that. But he saw them, my great-grandfather.
Okay. I'm guessing he was from here then?
Aye.
Okay.
And he talked about similar creatures. He said they were like cobbled together from parts of other animals.
Yeah, see, that's kind of another reason why we came, because we've heard some reports. Somebody get another whiskey over here. We've had a lot of reports of that kind of thing, and it all seems to originate from around this area.
I don't suppose he said whereabouts he saw them, did he?
Ah,
Oh,
this
you
is,
you
this
coming
my
over as
friend.
well?
Yeah, this part I've
Yeah.
picked up and I've like, maybe
So
maybe
this is
isn't
Dr.
a drum.
Baker.
Oh, doctor. Hello, doctor.
Did you get a whiskey?
My great-grandfather, he said he'd seen these similar creatures that seemed to be made up of bits of other creature. But ones he described, they weren't birds, you see. Funnily enough. He said they were more... How would he describe it? More like crabs. You know.
Crabs from, like, From like the coast?
Yeah, I guess so.
Right. Okay. How large were they?
Well, that miss he never really told me, but their size from what I can gather.
That sounds terrifying.
Well, it's a bit strange,
Yep.
but my grandfather, he had a bit of a reputation for the drink, you know what I mean?
I don't. She says, trying not to insult him.
I mean, my grandfather said that he'd heard rumours as well that they'd been there before him. Maybe 4 generations or so. Weird things they are. Have you seen them?
Yeah, they're kind of watching a lot. There's a lot of them around here. Everywhere. Like, when I say a lot, they are everywhere. Like, literally everywhere. Can't emphasize how everywhere they are right now.
Hmm. They do seem to be common around here. You watch them. You watch them. They fight each other too.
Have they ever hurt any humans?
What I know of, miss.
Okay.
Certainly have it in for each other.
I wander over at this point and go, did they talk to people?
Well,
It's
he
a big
looks at you
jump.
as if you are insane.
Oh, we're insane now.
Yeah. Sorry,
Since
miss.
he says that, I'm going to go grab another whiskey for him.
Yeah. What do you talk to him? What do you mean?
Ah, it sounds absolutely ludicrous, doesn't it? But our friend, who the reason he says that they communicate to him in his head just here, and the noise is in his head just here, and it's mithered him so much that he wants to dig something out from here.
Friend of yours, is it?
Fortunately, an ill friend.
Really sounds ill, ma'am.
Notice that your sheep round here are deformed.
I'm going to put the whiskey down, like, we already had that conversation, Sally. Yes, a little bit.
It's not just the sheep.
All the animals are deformed.
Can't say I paid that much attention.
No one's ever reported it to the government then.
Reported it to the government. He's kind of, he has this big grin over his face as he kind of says that to you. Reported it to the government, miss. What should we report? What do you think we should report? What's the...
Your sheep are deformed and yours deformed. Are any humans deformed? You know, any
Well,
humans
ma'am,
with
Look,
animal claws or hoofed feet?
well, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt, madam. You're obviously from the town, but I don't think you should probably come over here and start telling us how deformed we are. That seems a little bit disrespectful, if you don't mind me saying.
I'm not saying you are. I'm asking if there are. Difference then. I'm not saying, oh, you're deformed. I'm asking, is anybody deformed?
Is there a church anywhere around here? I'm going to butt in.
Sorry.
Is anyone in
Look,
this
if
village
anybody else wants to
deformed?
jump in,
I just did. I asked if there's a
yeah,
church.
well done, Jess.
Is there a
Ika.
church?
There is a
Ar-
church.
Arthur's looking out for Father Vincent. He's sitting in the back corner and he's reading his Bible, and you hear him just speak up at that point, and he says, "Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap." And he sort of mutters off into a verse
Hmm.
from the way he sort of talks. And he's and he kind of looks
I think came out all right, and
Yeah, don't worry about that.
and he looks up to see somebody walking in through the door to see if it's possibly Father Vincent, who he was expecting at some point.
I'm going to say, yeah, if you've probably been sat there for an hour or so while this conversation has been going on, It's awkward conversation, really awkward conversation.
It was wonderful until
Um,
my friends came and joined me.
But and the problem was, Jessica, is that you asked them. Um,
You
Sorry,
did.
we
It
intruded
was
on your
all of
date.
you.
yeah. Well. So it's probably about 5:30 or something when the door does kind of swing open. Um, and you see a fellow walking in, and you instantly recognise the dog collar as he comes in. He's quite a big chap. As he kind of wanders in, he has like a very tired, sad face. This guy, as he kind of comes in, sits down at the bar, and the barman just gets him like half a bitter, sticks that on the counter without even asking him. Mm, and you assume that this would be
Father
Father
Vincent.
Vincent.
And I say, Father Vincent.
And he looks round and sees a fellow member of the clergy. And he smiles warmly when he sees it. He sees you, and ah, hello, man of the cloth.
Yes, I am in my final year. I hope to take a parish somewhere in the south of England soon.
Well, congratulations, and I hope you succeed in all that you endeavour.
I find myself in your ward. I wonder if you'd perhaps be able to stop by. My party and I, we have some strange matters to discuss, and I would feel far more at ease if we were able to discuss them under the gaze of our Lord and Saviour. It would be perhaps improper to have such discussions here. Could we perhaps stop by?
Well, certainly, you wish to have a conversation in the church.
I think that would be appropriate.
He he looks you up and down. He kind of sits there trying to assess whether or not you're one of these guys that's perhaps
Ad.
slightly falling, not sure, or falling from grace or whatever it is. He says, well, certainly, obviously, if are you troubled, son?
Well, I consider myself loved by the Father, but
As should we all.
you're surely aware of some things that have happened. If we were able to talk, then, well, maybe not. Maybe not here. They don't seem so welcoming to strangers. My
He looks across at the barman as you say this, and he kind of smiles and says, "Mean done." He's he means well. He's a little bit. Uh, he's not fond of rich folk, if you know what I mean.
hmm.
Mm.
Well, perhaps your parishioners are generous in that way, but I would not count ourselves as rich.
Well, yes. Dunn will perhaps make his own interpretations of um, accent and attire, maybe. Certainly. You, if you are troubled, and you wish to seek counsel, then certainly I can meet you at the church this evening if you wish.
Yes, I think that would be. Please, yes.
Oh, I'm just going to drink this, and then perhaps we could head over there. If, are you all right?
I. The stories that my friends are telling have been. No, the story that I've been hearing told is of upsetting. There is something here that we must understand more. Everyone here has questions. Some of them choose science. Some of them need their faith in the Lord. Perhaps we should all. I look up. Where will we find you?
The church is just down the road. We could meet there. Perhaps we could meet there at 7. That be suitable?
Yes, I'll. And he sort of smiles at it. I'll gather the flock.
Yes. That'd be a good idea.
Really?
What's everybody else doing?
Avoiding the flock.
Avoiding the flock.
Probably feeling like the hair at the back of their neck sort of tingle.
At this point, I would have
Somebody
said my
mentioned
farewells.
flock.
After the date.
Yeah, I kind of slunk away after
Yeah.
calling the
Yeah.
village deformed.
Oh, right, okay.
I'd probably said my goodbyes.
Lucas
Yep,
is just
same.
kind of happily propped up at the bar, just, just taking the edge off the day.
Yeah, yeah. So Dunn's kind of, he's standing there in front of you. He's kind of clean glasses. He's kind of observing you, Lucas, as you kind of sat there drinking. And he's just kind of pouring you another drink, I guess. As he kind of looks at you and said, thought you were one of them posh buggers, but you don't drink like one.
Who are you saying that to?
He's saying that to Lucas.
Oh,
as
right.
He says, I ordered a drink as he's standing there. He puts a pint of ale down in front of you.
Lucas is muted.
Yeah.
Oh,
No problem.
he's just saying you're a posh bugger. You're not a posh bugger.
Yeah,
Gone.
well, he said, I thought you were one of those posh buggers, but you don't drink like one.
He can't
Yeah,
hear you. He's muted. Yeah, go.
there we go.
Can you hear him
Well,
now?
you know, some of us had worked our way up to where we are. Just
Oh, well. And he seems to take a bit of a shine to you, Lucas, as you kind of sat there drinking away. And he pours you another drink. And he's... I mean, do you engage him in conversation, or...
but I suppose, tardening my colleagues who are not quite so familiar with, I guess, probably like working class folk. Just be, we should just, any interesting word around town?
Oh. interesting word around here. Well, where it'd be. Actually, I'm going to make you make a roll of some kind here. If you're going to be doing
Sure.
some kind of interpersonal bullshit, let's do that.
It's what physicists are known for.
Yeah. So you can get to roll 1 dice.
Hey, minimal success.
Hmm.
Basically just small talking, aren't we?
Okay. So he, as the evening goes on, he kind of takes a bit of a shine to you, I guess, because turns out you're a bit of a connoisseur of the old ales, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he kind of joins you in a drink a little later on. You're kind of chatting away. He joins you in a drink, and he kind of says that we get most of the village folk coming here in the evening. In the end, we've got Father Vincent over there, fella over by the fire. That's Derek Rawlings. Naismith will probably be in a bit. You've met him already, out on the road.
Yeah. Charming fellow.
Yeah. I don't mean anything. I don't mean any harm.
I understand.
Yeah. You'll have to excuse old Derek's appearance at the minute.
Derek? Is he alright?
Gestures to the fella over by the fire. Yeah. He looks like a bit of a scruffy bugger, doesn't he? Well,
Yeah, a bit
he's
better,
lost
but-
his razor. He's always losing his bloody razor. He's got a favourite razor his grandfather gave him. He's a bit.
bit sentimental sort.
He is. He is. That he is. But he's lost his razor, and his grandfather gave it to him, so he's not happy about it.
Oh, that's a shame. I'm sure they'll turn up. These sort of things always do, especially in like a.
Not the
small
first time
neighborhood
he's
like
lost it. Yeah, it isn't the first time he's lost it, to be honest. But anyway, there's a couple of people saying, "Did you want to call it and finish this next week?"
Well, we'll work a date out to finish it.
Yeah, I think that's a good kind of place to kind of hold it for now.
Before we go to the
Is there a
church.
good few hours still left in the story?
There may be
Yeah.
an hour and a half, maybe.
Oh,
It depends. I
okay.
mean, maybe.
Yeah, we can play. You can get another.
Yeah, we'll do
Times.
another one, even if it's a shorter
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
It will be shorter here.
we'll work
Okay.
it out. Go and fight mutant birds and
Yeah.
sheep,
Mutant sheep
Enjoying the
and
conversation.
rude farmers.
Rude farmers.
Go.
Rude farmers are the worst. They're the worst.
Yeah.
Made me cough. I'm not doing that again.
Excellent.
Been definitely been a very creepy one.
Yeah, it's been
Mm.
this.
I don't really know where this one's gonna go either. I'm just like, what's happening?
Slow creeping horror.
This is how Cthulhu I like. Cthulhu when it's like this.
And just creating more and more enemies for us to have to deal with.
Well,
We're gonna be
well,
lynched
Yeah,
out of town.
I walked away from her insulting the barman.
I know, but it turns out that's actually how this adventure ends. You all get
I'm
lynched
not
by
very
the.
good with stuff like this.
No, it was kind of
It's
set
fine.
up
You all
that way.
deformed here.
Yeah. Is
It's
everybody
not one
deformed?
character. It's
You?
just
Do you have any more animals? Because we just ran some over.
I mean,
I-
look on the
I
bright
will-
side.
I'm playing character, but it doesn't stop me saying stupid things. I can't help it. These words just fall out my mouth. I have no control.
Oh dear.
I mean, on the bright
Brilliant.
side, we might become superheroes by getting like hawk wings or like, legs or something.
Talon feet.
Yeah.
Spooky.
Yeah.
This is the Cthulhu I like, where it's not like falling into big fight straight away. It's where it's like just sort of creep along and
Like
you
a
just
predator
don't
does.
know. Yeah.
It's gonna help.
Yeah, the problem. Yeah. And the big thing is, we all know it's Cthulhu. We all know how it's going to end.
Yeah, we all know we're gonna die. But but we know. But it's the
Guys,
investigation.
I mean, I'm gonna make it out alive. I don't know about the rest of you.
Yeah, I mean, that's all right. As long as, somebody's got to live to tell the tale, right?
It's going to be me.
These cults don't start themselves.
It'll be me. I'm the one that's upsetting everybody. I'm gonna walk out the bar in a minute. They're all gonna be stood outside with pitchforks, flaming out there, waiting for me to come out the bar.
What's everybody's insight on currently?
Oh, I haven't
One,
rolled
two.
insight yet.
What you have rolled insight, you
But I
fibber.
Have.
Oh yeah, I
And you were the-
passed it.
You didn't pass it because you're on 1. You can't pass it first time.
You
I
got
did
3
not
on
roll.
insight. I can see it in the chat.
Yeah, so
Oh.
you've got a point of insight there, you fibber.
You're not tracking
I forgot
it
about that.
right.
Yeah, I'm on 2 pips.
It's me.
Yeah,
I don't know
roll.
what anyone expects really.
Yeah.
We'll get
I think
I'm
everybody's
on
at
2.
least
I think
failed
we're all
1.
on 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if we can jack that up a little bit.
No,
Actually, somebody must have rolled when the sheep were there, right?
I didn't.
The doctors and the nurses would have.
I didn't roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I roll? I think I rolled at the
Shame.
sheep.
Shame.
What
if you
What was
didn't.
my
Like to
last
describe
Yeah, if I didn't roll at the sheep, what was my insight roll for then?
That was probably your first one, to be fair.
Yeah.
Actually, but Dr. Baker didn't make another insight roll, did he? Should we make him do one?
Yep.
I think we
Yep.
should make him do it.
Do
Yeah.
Do it.
Hang on.
Do it.
Hang on. Let's get. I'll put it back so the stream can see the rolls. So there's no arguing and no unfairness.
Do it.
There
Oh, you bugger.
Oh,
He's
Nice.
solid.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
into the
Alright.
wormhole.
I'm
That's not as fun.
disappointed. I'm
Yeah, I'm
disappointed.
disappointed.
I'll
Oh,
take
well,
that.
you'll have to get your blood next time.
Yeah.
So we're all on 2 at the moment, so we're all doing pretty okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah,
solid.
you're all a little bit
We're
Edgy.
professionals.
Bit edgy. Bit edgy. Bit
Yeah,
tense.
next time we'll be into My Chemical Romance and
Definitely.
So
So
are we going to attempt next Friday?
next
Uh,
Friday
well-
or another day if we can.
We'll
get
talk about it in
something scheduled.
Discord. We'll work it out.
And
Keep
we
a
will
lookout.
post
Everyone.
notes, so
Keep
make
a
sure you're in the
lookout.
Discord.
Yeah, let's get that
I
in.
know.
Okay.
Jump into our Discord. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Shall we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Wrap
we're
it.
we're in tomorrow for some Dungeons and Dragons. We're on the campaign there.
D&D.
You're going straight into a battle tomorrow.
Oh, we
That's what I'm
are.
saying. Straight into battle. You are in an icy cave filled with gnolls and other whatever else they are with. So yeah, straight into.
I heard mention of a dragon.
There was mention
Mm.
of a dragon
It's in the
up
title.
in
Oh.
our hills,
Uh-oh.
and you've got 2 occultists as well who are doing something. So that's then. Do we have any other games coming up in the next few days?
I don't think we have. I mean, Mark was going to do session 0 for Blades at some point.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd quite like to do. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought we ought to
That'd
create
be-
some
we should stream
characters and
that.
a crew for
Yeah, and then
Blades.
stream that.
he's
No.
once we got this one out of the way, he's on about running a Cthulhu one. See if we can get anyone who hasn't played. Which one were you thinking of doing? Not the
What?
Haunting. I mentioned the Haunting. Which one did you mention?
Edge of Darkness.
Edge of Darkness, which we've all played.
We used Trail of Cthulhu to play that.
So yeah, so he's thinking of running Edge of Darkness for any new players that want to play it, maybe in October.
Because it's that month, isn't it?
Yes.
Hey,
And
spooky
then-
munch.
Spooky.
Roy has promised to do the hospital one.
I am going to. Yes, I am. We don't have a Monday game on Monday this week. It's the following week, isn't it? So that's not. Yeah, okay.
I think so, yeah.
That's not streamed. Yeah, right. Well,
But we
I
need to
guess-
sort out a couple of one shots of D&D because we seem to have a lot of people that have sort of
They want
arrived
to
in
play
Discord
D&D.
and are
Yeah.
non-players or
It's
want to
somehow
play. And
popular.
It is.
Yeah, so we need to. So unfortunately, the only person that runs D&D is you and Trolls.
Yeah,
And
nah.
That's unfortunate for us, and hopefully not unfortunate for anybody else who's playing. We are approaching we're past midnight. We are a new channel. We are
Bear with us.
eking our way towards that magical number of 50, where we
Yay.
get things like bit rate and adverts and all that kind of malarkey. We get
I can't wait for adverts.
sub icons, and you'll get to roll our infinite monkey. By the way, chat came up with an absolutely awesome name. Well, it might have been chat, but equally might have been Neo. Fractal. Fractal, the monkey. I think that's
Fractal
cool.
the monkey.
You
I
can
think
I
test
like it.
That is good. That's good.
Dennis.
So
I
yeah,
liked
that
Marvin.
Well,
How about Franktel? Franktel,
Gargoyle.
Franktel the monkey.
Fractal.
We
It's
will
Fargoyle
be.
is Ian.
I know.
Okay.
I didn't know they wanted me to call him Ian, but if you are wanting to learn how to D&D, then you get into the Discord and you ask these people every questions that you want, and then we will get you a group and you will be DMing. It's not a choice, by the way.
Yes.
There you
Your
go.
family.
And if
Uh-huh.
there's any
Oh,
games that you're
Ange, when are you
I'm
interested
running
sure when
again?
he's got time off he will, because he's got
He
2
will.
nights off a week and we've got D&D on both nights.
Oh, you're
Or
already
in the
playing.
future. In the future.
Yeah,
in
we
the
have one. I'm
future.
sure he would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Well, you we need to know. You can do another group.
So
Excuses.
so tonight was a night of firsts. I would like to give two nods to Infinity. The first one is to say
Yay.
thank you so much for hosting and production tonight. That's absolutely amazing. Did a great job.
Go
Well done.
Harvey.
Thank you very
Good.
much for that.
Round of
So
applause.
much appreciated. And I'd like to give you a second nod because I'd like to. I think it would be great to end on that reveal if we could. Hopefully,
Same run, yeah.
we'll hopefully see you all
Yes.
in Discord, and hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow for D&D.
Good night.
Definitely. Good night,
Oh,
everyone.
thank you,
Bye-bye.
Marky. Oh, sorry.
Bye.
Bye.
Last but not least.